We are going live.
We may be allowed to be live.
Graham's shaving his neck bot.
I think that might mean beard.
I think virtual pinball is implying that I have a neck beard. Either that or virtual pinball is a goatee hater. Hello, everyone.
That's where we're going. Right. I wasn't sure where we were going with that.
I don't know. I don't know either.
No.
Good day, everyone. Good day, Chris Kingan. Thank you for the $10 for prosperity. Thank you very much. Audio echo. Oh, hold up. Hold up.
Echo.
An audio echo? How? Can anyone confirm that? There's a phone ringing now, but yeah. No, I think we're good.
I can't hear anything on the YouTube, so I'm not sure.
Oh, the bits I missed on my neck. Yeah, that happens. No echo here. Yeah, no, we're fine. Yep, okay. That's what I get. No, we're fine. Hello, everyone. Both Caradog and I are very tired today, so if we seem a little bit subdued today, that's why. So I'll start with my excuse for being tired. I was up until 3:30 a.m. this morning, which for some of you guys is probably like, ha ha ha, them's rookie numbers. However, for me, 3:30 in the morning is very late. And I was up trying to buy graphics cards because I had a tip-off that Currys were going to update their graphics card stock at about 3 a.m. The actual stock drop happened between 3:30 and 4 in the morning, and by that time I'd gone to bed, so I got nothing. I did just get £10 from Spud Nugget, though. Thank you very much. How's it going? So yes, that happened. So that's my excuse for being tired and also having a headache at the moment as well. I've just had a nice cup of tea and I'm probably going to get a coffee halfway through the stream. So Caradog, why are you very tired today? Are you just tired of life in general, or did something happen to you?
Yeah, we'll go with that. Just existing, isn't it? Oh, it's terrible.
I'll go with one of those things that you just said.
Yeah, no, just in general. This week has been lacking in enthusiasm and sparkle.
I know what you mean, actually. Just because that earlier on, I was like, oh, I've got to schedule up. But, by the way, if anyone's wondering, I'm taking apart a laptop while we do this just because it's in front of me, so whatever.
And we know how you like fiddling with things.
Yeah. So, I mean, actually, what if I just do this while I'm doing this? You know, this is not a let's fix or anything. I've got to take apart this laptop because I've got to try and flash the BIOS on it and just see if that fixes it. So I'm taking apart this laptop. Where was I?
Yeah, socketed CPU.
I know, a socketed CPU. It's I don't know what CPU it is actually. It doesn't say on it. Shit, nearly dropped it. Where was I? Yeah, this is a HP EliteBook something or other. I don't care. It's old. It doesn't post. I'm 99% certain I'm wasting my time, which is why I'm not recording a video. Anyway.
I had an EliteBook something or other for a while, and I was very pleased with it, other than the fact that it was like one core and a 1.8-inch hard drive.
The EliteBooks are okay until they break. And as with a lot of HPs, they seem to break. So yeah, make of that what you will. They're definitely a lot better than the HP consumer laptops. I mean, look at this. It's got Intel Wi-Fi with 3 antennas.
Do the antennas actually go anywhere?
Yes. Well, I'd imagine they go to the screen. But unlike the amount of HP consumer laptops that I see even today, brand new HP consumer laptops with single Wi-Fi antennas in them. And it's like, are you kidding me? You know, this, oh, good grief. It annoys me. Anyway, so earlier on I was scheduling up the podcast for today, and I was like, oh God, I've got to think of a title. What's happened this week? What's happened this week that allows me to title the video? And I genuinely couldn't think of anything. However, when I was going to get my lunch today, I walked up the high street to go to the sandwich shop, because I was like, I want to get a sandwich from the sandwich shop. So I walked up the high street to go and get a sandwich, and there was a busker on the high street. I don't know if that's British slang for anything. So it basically just means a chap playing a guitar and a microphone playing, for money kind of thing. And he was really good, actually. I dropped whatever change I had in my pocket into his guitar case because he had a really nice voice. And as I was walking up the high street, I'm like, that's really nice to hear. It was really nice. And he was playing Wonderwall. It was literally anyway his Wonderwall moment. But the thing is, it was really nice. And as I walked down the high street, and I just carried on singing it under my breath. And I was like, I haven't heard that song in a long time. I know it's a meme, but just in that moment, I was like, that's nice. That's really nice to hear,
See, when I saw the video, the title, I was half expecting you to go, I found my bass and here it is, or something.
No, I actually had pure intentions.
And you were just going to be that guy.
Yeah, nope.
And,
nope.
And we were suddenly going to be a case of, oh, we're now going to get content matched.
Yeah. Yep. Nope.
Monetized, banned, struck into the third age.
Probably. How does this come off? Does it need to come off? I don't think it does, actually. Whatever. So, yes.
Oh, you're trying to get to the BIOS chip, right? I was like, what? Why are you removing what looks like a SIM card adapter?
Yeah, I've got to take off this bottom case to expose the rest of the motherboard. I got a suspicion that might be the BIOS chip there. There's an MXIC chip there. But it's a big boy. It's like a 16-pin boy. So I don't know if this thing's got a weird BIOS chip in it. But yeah, at any rate, I'm going to get the motherboard. I mean, even if that is the BIOS chip, I can't get a hot air gun in there, so I've got to take this cover off anyway. So, what's that? Oh, that's my battery charger. Yeah. Better disconnect
the number of people I have concerned by that alarm randomly suddenly going off, and they're just like, what is?
I finally bought a balance charger, and I've just been balancing my lipos, and yeah, my 3-cell lipo was pretty far out of balance. So, and like, I knew this, but I get hate comments every now and then for people going, you shouldn't charge that from your bench power supply. And I'm like, yeah, I know. It's just balance it now and then. It'll be fine. And so I'm just like, yeah, it was about time that I balanced that battery. And so I did.
Did you get like the 150 watt version?
No, I got the cheap ass one that you linked in Discord the other day. Let me just grab it so I can put it on
just
screen.
The super cheap, like
the IMAX B.
Version.
Yeah, the IMAX B6.
Yeah, that comes in
you can't
40.
See that, but yeah,
that comes in 4080 in like 150.
Yeah, its charge rate is up to 6 amps apparently.
Yes.
Yeah, and I don't know why you'd want to charge anything at more than 6 amps. I don't know why you want to charge anything at 6 amps, quite frankly.
Because it's a 1000 milliamp. Sorry, it's a 22 amp hour battery.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if you've got a huge big boy battery, yeah.
It's a 22 amp hour 6-cell battery.
Yeah.
That would take a while.
I had a sleepy moment. I stuck an XT60 connector on it so I could plug my lipos in, because it came with Dean's connectors.
Yeah.
And I understand why now that you were all about Dean's connectors for a while now. However,
because they're the correct connector.
Dean's is crap, man. Dean's is horrid.
Hold on, I'll be back in 2 seconds.
Are you? What are you? Oh, he's going to go and get his Dean's connectors. But let's get our hang on a sec. Let's get our story straight, people. Hang on a minute. He's going to get stuff, so I'm going to get stuff. Where the hell's the box? So for clarity, these horrible, horrible things here, these are called Dean's connectors. And they're awful and crap in every possible way. They're difficult to plug in and unplug. They're not very well shielded. They're really cheap, and it's just horrid. By comparison, XT60 is the true gentleman's hobby battery connector. XT60, it can handle a feck ton of current. It's shielded on both sides. It's really easy to wire in. Just, man, XT60. So, what you were going to get something completely different, I assume, at this point.
Oh, see, what you do is you have something which takes from your you're these.
Your banana jacks, yeah.
Yeah, from your banana jacks. And then you just go like this.
Oh, you got an octopus jobby, yeah.
So you have your mini Tamiya, your Tamiya, and your Deans, and then you do a Deans to XT60.
Yeah, or you could just put XT60 on everything.
But that doesn't work very well when you need to charge mini Tamiya and Tamiya.
Don't have mini Tamiya or Tamiya, because those are bad as well.
But they're what you use for NiCad and Nomos.
Yeah, oh, I guess. I don't know. I should probably read the chat at some point because, sorry, I've not been paying attention. So
It's all right. It seems like attention is going to be lacking.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to scroll back a little bit and just quickly skim through the chat. So not long until 100k. We're close. We're super close. I'm going to switch back to face cam again now I'm doing this because I'm not really paying much attention to this laptop. So we'll go back to our usual format. That'll do.
Swing.
Yeah. So yes, we're super close. I need to start doing stuff, but well, things have I planned a little bit more things. I'm no closer to getting my countertops because the company that I bought the counters from, they were supposed to. The email said we'll contact you to arrange delivery. Haven't heard anything from them. So I've sent an email saying, hey, so I've given you guys 600 quid for a load of wood. When do I get the wood? You know. When do you deliver my countertops that I have paid you money for?
Can I have your wood?
So I'm waiting to hear back from them from that, and I'm a bit like sort of, thanks guys, inspiring confidence here. However, I did speak to one of my friends who's an electrician this week, and we had a conversation about lighting and stuff like that, and he's going to get me a quote on on replacing all the compact fluorescents with LED panels because like another couple of the bulbs have blown and like literally only half the lights in this place work. And like it's not a problem for this bench because studio lights. However, the rest of the shop is just in a weird kind of twilight and every single bulb is a slightly different color temperature. Yeah. So yeah. So I spoke to my mate and he said, can you show me what's above the drop ceiling? And I took pictures of that and he's like, yes, this is all really good. That's really easy for me to work with. And so, yeah, he's going to sort me out with that. He's going to sort me out with some water heaters as well so I can actually wash my hands with warm or hot water instead of freezing cold tap water, which is a luxury that I've never had in my shop before.
No. We replaced all of the lights in the office with LED panels.
Do you know what color temperature you went for?
In the office, no, I don't know what they were.
Okay.
They look by eye like they're like the 5,000 ones.
Yeah. Because I'm. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because I was trying to decide. I'm trying to decide what kind of color temperature to aim for because I'm like, I think I'm kind of like. Sometimes daylight white is really nice, but then sometimes it's just too sterile and you want something that's a little bit warmer. I think 5,000 is daylight and I think that might be the best way forward. But like you can buy 6,000K panels.
Yeah, that's a 6,500.
Yeah, and I'm like, nah, it's too cold for my taste. Although obviously for you, you're trying to offset other colored temperature ones. So I know, you've got a 6,000 for a reason. But yeah, 2,700K is too low, Si. Although I have that on my desk at home. I run really warm lights at home, but yeah. I looked away and then I looked back and you were there like.
I bought some of these to play around with.
Huh. What is that and what is it for? Is that a photography light or something or?
They're just LED panels.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You just.
And then.
Oh okay. Yeah. So you. Oh yeah. That's got a good range on it.
Change the color temperature on them.
Yeah.
And then this is exactly the same, but I bought the two different ones because this one you can pop that little bit of plastic off, and it comes with somewhere. There you go. Different colored gels.
Oh sweet.
So yeah. So I've got like a green one that I can just chuck in there somehow, and then
I do kind of like the idea of having some colored lighting, like when when looking at other videos and stuff. I actually really like the kind of lighting that Jay's 2 cents goes for. Aha, the spoopy light. Where he has like some nice sort of blue and purplish wash lights on the back wall behind him. And I think that adds a nice, really a nice bit of color to everything. Obviously, I've got to actually decorate and stuff in here, but I am kind of tempted to get like a wash light, just to throw a splash of color on the wall behind me. I think that'll look really nice.
The other thing I like is these are both USB-C.
Ah, USB-C, all the things.
Exactly.
Yeah, nice.
All I need to do is to retrofit my old keyboard, and then I will have no USB. Nothing other than USB-C. So yes, eventually I'll do that, but yeah.
Good. Caradog is in a mischievous mood today. Isn't he always? Isn't he always? But yes. Let's see. You should get the fancy boiling taps you can get now. I'm going to get one of those for the kitchen. I've got one of those stupid instant hot water hand washing tap things to go in the bathroom because it's cheap and it works. And that one came with the shop. Like it's boxed and it hasn't been fitted, but it was supplied with the shop. And so I've just said to my mate, look, I've got this. Can you fit it in the bathroom? And he's like, yeah, sure, no problem. But for the kitchen though, I'm gonna get an instant hot water boiler thing. It's got a very small, like I think it's like a 5 liter or 10 liter tank or something that it holds of boiling water. So there's just instant water for heat, but it's only a small tank, so it doesn't use a lot of power just to have it heated. Keep that water heated all the time. So yeah. So yes, are you getting used to the Rode Wireless? Yeah, I still haven't done much editing with this thing yet, so I don't really have anything else to add that I didn't say last week, because I haven't actually done a lot of content creation this week. So yeah, and as I say, the video that I edited this week was a monitor repair that I shot before I got this one. So that was shot using the old condenser mic. So again, I still haven't done any editing with this mic. However, I've been experimenting with it and I like having it. And yeah, I think overall I'm happy with this mic. I like the setup and I think it's a good thing to be running. 5000 Kelvin is used in graphics departments to do with outdoor advertising. All right, oh, fair enough. Yeah, I think 5000 Kelvin is probably the sweet spot between looking, not coloring anything with, or not tinting anything any color because it's literally natural white, but without looking too cold. So yes, that would be potentially nice. And the other thing as well is even if I do end up with colder room lighting, I can always turn up the warmth on the studio lights. The back ones I have a natty little remote for, so I can be like, decrease color temperature. And you guys can't see that because the camera's just adjusting for it. What happens if I go all the way up to super cold? You can kind of see it in the top left of the screen there changing, but it's not making a tremendous difference. But yeah, I run these at 4200 at the moment, but the room lighting is just all over the place. So
the room lighting is something.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm surprised at how at the moment the cameras are wanting to auto balance to about 4200K. So yeah, that's kind of just where everything is at the moment. But it seems to look all right.
Based off of the YouTube preview, you looked slightly better with cooler color.
Possibly. The other thing as well is these monitors are so uncalibrated that I have no idea what white balance is at the moment, which is also annoying me. I need to actually, I need to see if I can, yeah. Do you still have your Spider?
Mm.
Yeah, I might need to borrow that at some point and actually calibrate these monitors because, you know, like when I look at the OBS preview, No, the OBS preview looks about the same, but I don't know. It feels like the color temperature looks slightly different wherever I look at it, and I have no idea which one the actual one is at. So it's very difficult for me to figure out what it should be at because I have no idea where the white point actually is right now.
The problem I found with the spiders is at least that one seems to color everything very much to the red, or shift everything very red.
I noticed that when I tried it on my home screens. It wanted to go a little bit reddish.
Yeah, and I couldn't work out why it wants to be so far towards red. I couldn't work out if it was a gamma issue or a white point issue or anything like that, because switching them around and stuff didn't seem to really fix it. And everything was just genuinely red and not actually balanced.
Yeah, I didn't find it it didn't take mine super, super red. It did just shift a little bit more toward the red, but in a way I preferred that just because it made things a little bit, it looked a bit warmer and more vibrant to me. It was a slightly pleasant red tinge. However, yes, I did notice that it definitely wanted to veer toward the red, so I definitely had the same issue with it.
Yeah.
So
clearly,
yeah,
I need to get a colorimeter as well as a spectrum.
A spider to calibrate your spider. Yes, who will calibrate the calibrators?
Yes, I need a colorimeter and a spectrometer.
Yeah,
because they measure different things, but they're both necessary for making sure that the colors are actually accurate.
Graham, do you still use a Brio, or are you transitioning to using a proper camera for videos? I'm still on the Brio at the moment, and again, this is the Brio that you're seeing me on. Although obviously we're at. Oh, my headphones just shouted at me that the battery is low. That's fine. I haven't charged them since I bought them. Well, I charged them when I bought them. This is the same charge as when I got them, so they've lasted for like 4 of these podcasts now, which is pretty good going, I think. Where was I? Yes. Yeah, this is the Brio, and as you can see, this is at 30 frames a second, but it still looks pretty good for a webcam, I think. I do want to move to using a proper camera. However, I'm not sure when yet. I have some ideas on how that will work out, but that's a long-term plan. Improving lighting so far has helped increase the picture quality much more than different cameras would, in my opinion, at the moment. Yeah, I think because a good camera is, generally speaking, still bad if it doesn't have enough light. So yeah, so I'm still working with the Brio at the moment. Is the short answer there. I think also just because I think if I move to a different camera, it's going to require a completely different rigging setup for how I record stuff. I mean, I might do it for if I do more benchtop stuff, like if I'm doing a case review where everything is all a wide shot to have me and the case in shot at the same time, that I would definitely be looking to move to a camera on a tripod for. And I'll probably just get a DSLR or something like that. However, I think for the bench videos where it's just top-down view, I'm probably going to stick with the Brio for the foreseeable future, because I don't think there is anything. There are better cameras out there, but I don't think I can find anything that will give me the same versatility. Is the main issue there. I think any other camera, I will have to make a concession. Like, for example, any other camera, even if I rig it up on an overhead view, I won't be able to do any kind of proper zoom in. Although that much being said, I am also planning on. See, this is the thing, is like, I was thinking about it. Like, if you have a proper fixed overview camera, you can be like, okay, well, now I can't do the super close-ups that I do with the Brio. But it's like, okay, we'll get a microscope with HDMI out on it. Solves that problem. But the problem is, let me swivel around again. If I'm going for a top-down on a laptop like this, so I can have a fixed view, and we've got the laptop in view here, and you can see what I'm doing. This would be our fixed camera. Let me get it straight. There we go. So we've got a fixed view of the laptop. And I'm like, cool, okay, I want to show a close-up of the CPU socket. So, I mean, I guess I would have some amount of optical zoom with another camera, but nothing that can do this and go all the way in and then leave focus. You can't do that with optical zoom. And by the same token, I can't fit this camera under a microscope. Sorry, I can't fit this laptop under a microscope either. So the Brio is actually still giving me versatility that just simply can't be achieved with a different setup, I don't think. So I don't know. That's the thing, is I keep finding myself going, yes, I might get a little bit of better quality from a more traditional camera, but I don't think I'll get anything that can actually match the same amount of utility as I get from the Brio. That's my dilemma at the moment.
The issue is how soft the image is as soon as you're not up close.
Yes, that's the problem. The Brio is really bad at yeah, it's bad at mid-range detail. Like when I put for a face shot like this, you don't notice and it's fine. But yeah, when I'm trying to do a top-down showing the whole laptop, I agree. That's where I really notice the quality loss. And yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, that's the, to me, that's kind of the thing. That's where it loses out.
Yeah.
And also is also the feel you get from a much larger optic. Because as we were talking about the other day, the feel you have from that much larger optic and the change in the way the depth of field is shown and things like that is a very particular look. And is something you'll certainly want, or at least certainly a case of something I want, and would want for sort of this view.
Yeah.
Certainly the view that the sort of, I don't know, where are we? About 30 degrees off of face on.
Yeah.
Thing and stuff like that. I'd want that to throw this better into out of focusness.
Yeah.
But not in a really forced ultra blurred way, but just having that narrower,
just a little bit of blur on the background just to make you pop a bit more. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, the other alternative is just that I go for a more multi-camera setup, which is entirely possible for the way that I record, because I already use 2 cameras as it is. And if I got a microscope, that would be 3 cameras, and it would not be a massive issue to have a 4-camera setup, where I've got the Brio on hand for difficult shots that a bigger camera can't get to. So I could have a big overview camera, and I've got optical zoom that can go into some stuff. And then if I'm just like, I need to get into a corner and only the Brio can reach in there, then I just bring in the Brio,
Yeah, basically.
And
it's also a case of you wouldn't need the C920, because you'd obviously replace that with an actual decent camera.
I could do, I suppose, yeah.
Because I don't see why you'd use it when you had a DSLR or mirrorless or something like that.
Yeah. Well, the idea is that, yeah, I mean, if obviously I need something just as a basic face cam.
Because you'd replace the C920 with the Brio.
Okay, yeah, and then if I needed to do a close-up shot, I would sacrifice the face camera to do that shot.
Yeah, because
which
you
is
don't
no
need
problem.
A face cam whilst you're doing a close-up.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
So it's kind of a 2.
Yeah. Yeah, that is true.
And also just be interesting if there was not an action cam, but something similar to that. They didn't have a ridiculous fisheye on it. So it's just a standard like 50mm type lens, but was a camera like this sort of thing.
Well, most of the action cams, they can do narrow field of view, no problem.
But the actual physical optic is a wide angle optic. That's what I'm saying. One that actually has a physical optic that is, say, only 75 degrees.
Yes, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that much being said, I mean, I have got, I am going to be acquiring soon another action cam to experiment with.
Acquiring.
Yes, um, because as I said, I have experimented with using a GoPro, but the GoPro did not work for me. And I don't know. Hopefully, this other action cam might work out differently, or maybe I might be able to get better use out of it, knowing what I'm getting into this time. Because I was very upset about because I bought a GoPro Hero 6, I think, and I was very upset by the comparative lack of performance of it, just because its ability to preview over HDMI was terrible, basically. And trying to find actual straight answers as to what you could output over the HDMI port on the GoPro was really difficult. And you know, all the documentation said, oh, it can do 1080p, 120 FPS over HDMI kind of thing. But when I actually came to use the camera, it was a matter of it supported that output, but the software, the actual preview video stream coming out of it wouldn't do that. So it was the equivalent of having it would be the equivalent of having my Brio set right now to be at 60 FPS, but the stream is at 30 FPS. So it's just like, well, it doesn't matter that the camera is at 60 FPS because you guys are still only seeing 30 FPS. So it was a matter of, you know, it was saying it supported these things and it would support them for playback, but actual preview, it couldn't do it. And I'm like, well, what's the point then? And it was complicated and a mess. And because of the cost of a GoPro, because GoPros are really expensive for what they are, in my opinion. And because of the cost of it in the end, I ended up sending it back. I was just like, no, this isn't working for me. So yeah. But, you know, I think maybe a different camera, going in with different expectations, I might end up with something that actually works for me, and I may be able to put it to good use. It'll be good to try, be good to experiment.
Yeah, absolutely. And also just the fact of because cameras don't, or because, you know, the cameras will be kind of focused at specific functions.
Yes.
You can make things more focused on a specific function and
Yeah.
make them better at each function.
Yes.
And
I
just
mean,
use different things for each function.
yeah, of course, it is worth keeping in mind that I do use cameras for a comparatively niche use, in that I just want their HDMI output to plumb into OBS, which is obviously not what most of them are designed to do.
Yeah.
However, at the same time, it's just like streaming has been around for long enough that I feel like that's something that camera manufacturers should be actually thinking about, is that there are a lot of people who just want to run the output straight out of HDMI and into OBS or into some other recording platform. So,
Yes.
so
As
yeah.
far as I'm aware, certainly the last time I looked at it, the Sony Alphas were the ones that had the best HDMI output.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and then Canon were doing firmware updates to a whole bunch of Air cameras to fix up dodgy issues with HDMI outputs.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they
I
had
think
a whole
the industry is going in that direction now, I think, at least.
Yeah, because it was also a case that they had a whole suite of their cameras where the HDMI output was basically broken. It was dropping frame. It was like dropping frames, or it was incorrectly encoding it, or it was like sticking slightly funky time signals on it. So it was appearing to be like 31.1 frames a second as opposed to being like 29.94, and just weird
Yeah.
stuff like that. It was
Yeah.
just like, Canon, what did you do?
Yeah. What was this? What happened?
But yeah, I certainly know there are a whole bunch of firmware updates they did beginning of 2020 for a huge number of their models, fixing HDMI preview issues. So yeah,
Fair.
one day camera manufacturers will actually pay attention to what people, or what a large number of people are actually wanting cameras for and stuff as well.
Yes. Yeah, although it's the problem is it's very easy for everyone to assume that their use is what everyone else is doing with them.
Oh
And
yeah, but just a case of
especially in the creative scene, because like for the creator scene, it's just like, oh well, all YouTubers obviously want a HDMI output, but then everyone who's not a YouTuber probably doesn't care and is recording to SD. So, yeah. Let's see. They tend to not give clean output overhead, so stop using an external recorder to get higher quality files. They want you to buy the Pro lines. Yeah, conspiracy theory for that. Maybe. Do you think they tend? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I suppose it's possible. And yeah, I guess it wouldn't surprise me if they made products and said, yeah, we're not going to give you this functionality because that's reserved for the Pro lineup. I could see that being a thing. I could see that being a thing.
Yeah, it's certainly a case of, at least from Canon's side, it was very much a case of, actually, no, this is just broken, and
Yeah.
here are software updates to fix it on a lot of it.
Yeah.
And Sony seem to have always supported decent HDMI output on their cameras.
I think at the very least, it's is it Occam's razor? Do not attribute to malice what can be attributed to stupidity.
That's not Occam's razor, but
No,
that's certainly something.
It's someone else's razor, or someone else's gun. Chekhov's razor. I don't know. It's someone's something. What's that phrase called? Do not attribute to malice what could be attributed to stupidity. That's a thing. Someone help me out here.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I'm not going to Google it at the moment, but yeah. But yes.
Along those lines. But also, just very quickly, something I saw in chat.
Yeah.
Don't buy a 5950X for gaming. For the love of God. You don't need a 5950X to play games.
Yeah, agreed.
No.
Mehrunes razor. Wait, that's Skyrim. Oh, you got carried on with that one. Please cut your beard.
Spit.
Every beard hate message makes me slightly stronger. Be careful what you say. So yeah, very well. All right, okay. Let's do. I'll answer. Let's look for a couple of the tech questions.
But yes, to
okay, carry on.
Supply the actual answer to that question.
Yeah.
Buy a 5600 and be very happy with a 5600.
Yeah, or if you want something exotic, then hello, that liquid damage.
Buy a 5600. If you don't have a 5600,
yeah,
or they're not available in your country, get like a 3600 or a 3600.
Yeah, or if you want something exotic, then at least get the 5800X. Just because I hear that the 5800X is an overclocking monster. So at least that, if you want something with pimp value, then go with the 5800X because it's got pimp value as being an overclocking chip.
Yes.
So yes.
Or apply Sub-Zero.
Let's see. Oh, Occam's razor is when two possible explanations. The simplest one is usually correct. Fair enough.
Yeah.
That was Occam's razor. Oh, is it Halon's razor? I don't know. Let's see.
Oh yeah, Halon's something or other.
Noel, what's up? If you have soldered RAM in a laptop, can you swap it from 4 gig to 8 gig resolder, or will the board be restricted to 4 gig max? It's an Atus Vivo book. I saw someone else ask this question, a similar question to this, when I think we were talking about netbooks or something somewhere, and it's a matter of.
I imagine it would depend on the firmware.
I don't know is the answer, but I'd really like to know.
Yeah, I would presume it would be a firmware thing, basically a case of if the laptop model has, say it's a 32 gig eMMC one, and you're saying, oh, can I go up to 64 gig eMMC? I would say that would be dependent on whether there's a higher firmware, a higher capacity.
Yeah, but that's for the storage chips though, not RAM.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah. For the RAM.
Yeah, I mean for the RAM. Know. Yeah, I mean for the RAM. I mean, what's on a memory module? You know, you've got some resistor networks, some capacitors, and the chips. I mean, There is a
build a
driver
RAM
chip
module
on
then.
them, so yeah. What, I didn't hear what you said.
Go build a RAM module.
Go build a RAM module. Yeah. I don't know. I'd be really interested to know. I wonder. That would make a good experiment sometime. Is to find a scrapper laptop that has some soldered-in RAM, and sacrifice a RAM module. Like if it's got 4 gigs of soldered RAM, if I can find a single-sided 8 gig RAM module, so it has 4 chips on it for 8 gigs, and just do a straight swap. That doesn't seem like it would be a massive job, and I wonder if it would work.
It would need to be the same type.
Yes.
It'd have to be the same type of memory chips.
Yeah.
And they'd have to be the same exact model of memory chip, because if it's soldered onto the motherboard, there'll be a single, not SPL. There'll be a
SPD.
There'll be a single timing setup
Yeah.
for the chip.
I'm just grabbing a charging cable because my headset is actually saying it needs to be recharged now. I'm still listening.
So I'd imagine that you might have issues on that just because the BIOS physically can't do memory training.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think it would be that simple. You're right.
So it would be a case of you could probably do it if you had, say, 512 and you went up to gigabit modules or something like that. I think that would work. Or you went to 8 gigabit modules from 4 gigabit. I think that would work, but they'd have to be basically exactly the same modules. So the same timings are likely to work.
Yeah. There's probably someone out there who has managed to do this, and it's probably doable under a very certain set of circumstances. But I would imagine the answer is theoretically yes, practically no. I think is the answer to that question. Is theoretically it could probably be done. However, the practicalities of actually achieving it are not worth the amount of trouble, I reckon.
Yeah.
So
it's certainly a case of, because in a large number of cases, the laptops that come with soldered RAM and so on aren't worth that level of
yes, if the laptop
Unless
has
it's
soldered
a
RAM, it's
brand.
probably a trash laptop. There's a couple of, yeah and no. I was about to say there are some of them, like they said it was an Asus VivoBook, but I'm not going to lie, the past couple of Asus VivoBooks I've seen, I haven't been impressed. They look like they're nice laptops, but they suffer from what I'll call HP syndrome, where they look like they're nice laptops, but when you actually open them up for repair or something and you actually look at what's inside them, you're just like, what the hell, man? Trash cooling, trash Wi-Fi, trash storage. This is not a good laptop, That's my impression of the past couple of VivoBooks I've seen. And it makes me sad because, as I say, they look like nice laptops.
They look like the kind of thing Currys would sell.
Yeah, kinda. Yeah, Sandeep Amera, hopefully I'm getting your name right. Thank you very much for the 60 of those.
Rupees.
They're rupees. Thank you very much. It was kind of in an R shape, and I'm like, it's either rubles or rupees. Thank you very much for the 60 rupees. Greatly appreciated. Big thumbs up to you. Thank you very much. No problem. So, yes. Yeah.
Also, I think there was another one from Ben at some point.
Oh, did I miss one? I'm going to scroll up. I'm going to back scroll a sec. Did I miss someone? I'm going to check. Oh, there was a couple. Oh, wow, I missed a couple. I must have gone, yeah. We missed one from Ben Laird as well with the $5. Thank you very much, Ben. And also Christopher David with $10. Get yourself a nice cuppa. Thank you very much, guys. If I do miss any super chats, by the way, do let me know. I don't get to them. Like, sometimes I finish what I'm saying before I get to them. However, if I've actually just straight up not spotted them, sometimes they scroll off the screen, especially if I'm working as I'm doing now, which I shouldn't be while I'm doing this, but whatever. It might scroll off the screen and then it's gone. On that note, Demny BS, thank you very much for the $20. Making some A5 Wagyu today. Is this a slang word that I don't understand?
Is this some youth speak I'm to?
It might be. I genuinely don't know.
It's a type of beef.
Okay.
Beef. It's Japanese beef.
Ah, okay, fair enough. 5800X seems good for gaming. Yours hits 58, 48, 50 meg. Really? 4.850? That's not bad. All core around 4.5, 4.6 for AVX. Yeah. Is that stock or overclocked? Because if that's stock, you could get into the 5 gigahertz club easy with a little bit of tweaking on that, I think. Like, obviously, another 250 megahertz isn't very much, but it gets you that big 5 gigahertz number, which is just, everyone wants the 5 gigahertz, you know. Get that beef. Yeah, all right. I made a proud of myself, so that's that.
Yeah, 4850 is reasonably standard.
Yeah, so yeah, you get 5 gigahertz out of that then.
Mine will, excuse me, mine will spike to like 505.
That's nice. Is it, well, have you got a 5800 or are you talking about your 5950?
My 5950 will spike to like.
Oh, really? If the 5950 can do it, then yeah.
Yeah, it will spike to like 505.
Oh, that's fine then, yeah.
And it will do all core stable around 4.8.
Yeah.
With crazy volts, but yeah.
I still don't know what's going on about my 5950X pre-order. I tried to call Scan this week because I was actually going to ask them, can you change it out for a 5800X? Because I don't need a 5950X. I'm only buying, you know, the only reason why I haven't cancelled the pre-order is just because I have a pre-order on a chip that's very difficult to get. And so if it actually ends up showing up in the post, worst case scenario is I flip it. But yeah, I'm probably going to try and change out the order for a 5800X just for something a bit more sensible. Yes, anyway, I tried to call up Scan. I was on hold for 30 minutes and then the phone line went dead. And I was like, oh, well, that's the end of that adventure, I guess. So yeah, I've no idea what's going on with my order there. And after being on hold for half an hour, I was just like, yeah, I'm not calling back. So that made me a little bit sad.
Yeah, absolutely.
What's holding on here? Oh, the keyboard. Oh, the everything. Okay, I'm not out the water here yet.
Yeah, it was just thinking. This week I was playing around slightly with my 2700X, and there is a gigabyte boost option thing, like you were saying about in the VRM video.
Yeah.
And I turn that off, and instantly the highest clocks I now get is like 3.6, 3.7.
Yeah.
But my voltages have dropped by like half a volt. Like, and I'm just like, I'm more comfortable with this voltage now.
Yeah. I'm not sure what that is actually trying to do because it seems to absolutely massacre your clock. It doesn't just go down to stock clocks, it massacres your clocks. And it's just like, can I not just have a no fiddle option? Like, can you, I want an option, like if I like BIOSes that have the enhancement options where, you know, you make the boost times a little bit longer and things like that. That's a good thing, I like it. But if I switch that off, I just want the chip to be stock. I don't want you to just kill the performance of the chip. I just want you to not fiddle with it. You know, I just want a no fiddle option, you know. I don't know.
But yeah, I'm drastically more comfortable with it like that. I'm just like, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, if it's still giving you the performance you need, because yeah, I mean, that's the problem is, like when I was running my my i5 8600K, I kind of wanted to lower my clocks again because I was, you know, I was running it at 1.35 volts, which is realistically the maximum you kind of want on a daily driver. You know, you don't really want to be going up above 1.35 on a daily runner. Just because that's, you probably can, but that's a, I'm not planning on keeping this chip for more than a couple of years kind of territory.
Although it's 14 nanometers, so like...
It's probably fine, but...
1.45 is probably fine.
Yeah, I suppose, if you can call it. But at any rate, though, however, when I actually turned off my overclock again, I did actually, I lost the performance. And I was like in Vegas when I was editing video, I took a noticeable hit in performance after switching off my overclock, and I was like, oh, that makes me sad. But yeah, like if you pulled back your chip slightly and it's still performing as you require it to, then yeah, that's a nice thing, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's something funky about my 2700X just because it doesn't idle.
Ah, that's a bit odd. Yeah, but
It
then it's
only
also
does.
it's also missing a pin though, isn't it? So
Yes, it only does all of the boost all of the time.
yeah, so you can be like one of those people who's just like, yeah, my computer consumes 100, 200 watts idle, and I'm okay with that because I don't pay my electric bill. So
no,
yeah,
it's only like 200 watts total.
yeah.
Fine.
Although, as Arnold G pointed out, sometimes undervolting an AMD CPU is how you do get to better performance. That can also be true. It's very dependent. There's lots of theories with Ryzen. However, certainly there are times where sometimes less is more. That is absolutely a fact. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But yes, it's mostly about trying to keep your temperatures as low as possible.
Yeah.
Because exactly the same processor temperature scaling for my 5950X, at -20, it would do to 5.25 stock. Stock settings 5.25 was the peak boost. Under an AIO at like 50, the peak boost is 505.
Yeah.
Exactly the same chip, exactly the same motherboard setting.
Yeah.
Because the frequency is temperature dependent. So temperature because the frequency is so temperature dependent. There we go.
Words. Yeah, that's a little bit annoying because like 50 degrees, that's fine, man. It's as far as I'm concerned, it's just like the chip should not even be starting to dial back. Although that much being said, of course, most of the time when you're measuring temperature, you're probably seeing edge temps, not junction temps and stuff like that.
Possibly.
So maybe that's it. Because I'm as far as I'm concerned, if the chip is below 70 degrees, then it should be boosting harder. As long as you're under 70, boost some more. That's my opinion there. But that's not the way it seems to work in practice.
It will also be a case of the total package power.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, yes.
Just because you're only at 50 doesn't mean you're not at total package power.
Yeah, that is true as well.
But obviously dropping nearly 70 Celsius off the temperature of the chip, you're using less watts to get the same clocks.
Yes, that is true. Yeah. Yeah. It's complicated these days, isn't it?
Absolutely. But yes, I need to come up with a more elaborate solution. Also possibly just cover my motherboard in rubber, just rubber.
Yeah, I was going to say you do need to waterproof your motherboard. You need to go and you need to waterproof your motherboard. Not that it was not implying that condensation had anything to do with the recent return of a motherboard that you didn't own, but yeah, it's something that you're well aware of the existence thereof. Moving swiftly on, Night Fusion with the fiver, thank you very much. 5800X AMD curve optimizer, 5.3 gigahertz at 1.36 volts. Not bad. 5.2 AVX, not bad. Maximum 64 degrees with a H150i. Yeah. Oh, that's a cherry chip. Okay, yeah. Yeah, so I'm assuming cherry chip means that's a proper binned chip. So, let's see. Peter Johnson with the £10 super chat. Thank you very much. Hi guys, when do you think Intel will be competitive again on mid or high-end desktops? I don't know, man. Word on the wire is the new 11th gen CPUs are disappointing. Apparently, because the 10th gen was not mind-blowing, but they had actually had a notable improvement on temperatures and stuff like that. And it was just like, aha, Intel are waking up. The sleeping giant has awoken and is going to start breathing fire again. And it sounds like they hit 11th gen and then coughed. But I haven't watched any reviews. This is just headlines I've heard. So I don't know.
11th gen seems to be a good first iteration of a new core because it's a brand new core design.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's a full new microarchitecture.
I didn't know that. Yeah.
And it's still faster and stuff like that. So it's still a case of it's a very good first implementation.
Okay, fair enough. So it's not a great step up from 10th gen. However, the fact that they have got a brand new core microarchitecture that is better in first gen is a good start, and it probably implies that the 12th gen is actually going to be very good potentially as they start refining it.
So yeah, certainly is a case of it will be basically the same microarch, I'd assume, but actually running on 10 nanometer. That's the plan. Certainly a case.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So
yeah. Someone else
apparently coming at the end of the year. Apparently, so 11th gen is going to last less than 7 months.
Oh, well, rip anyone who buys 11th gen then. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely going to be leave that one to the OEMs, chaps. By the sounds of things, because yeah, it's kind of going to be like the first gen core CPUs that were only around for a very short amount of time, weren't they? I seem to remember the first core chips had a really short lifespan, or maybe I was or failing that, like
I think they had a really short lifespan on actual consumer desktop. But they existed for quite a long time.
Yeah.
From memory, it was purely a case of they kind of appeared as workstation processors for like 4 or 5 months before they became standard consumer desktop processors. So it was a case of it then made made the product cycle seem much faster.
Yeah.
Just because they were kind of delayed to consumer desktops effectively.
Yeah. By the looks of the things, they've got too many damn SKUs on them as well. I think there's like 30 SKUs.
36, I
yeah,
think,
and it's just like, why do you have that many, guys? That's too damn many. So
because unlike AMD, where AMD says here is a 5950X and it has built into it support for a 60 watt, 80 watt, and 144 watt TDP, they go, here is the processor with a 60 watt TDP. Here is a separate SKU with an 80 watt TDP. Here's a separate SKU with 144 watt TDP. So I can sell the same processor 3 times effectively, but also at the same time not.
Yeah, I suppose there's pros and cons to that, because to an extent, the other possibility as well is it does avoid the trap of selling of the GPU issue, where you can have 2 GPUs that are the same model number but different performances because they have been configured to run at different TDPs. So a mobile 3080 can be completely different performance to another mobile 3080. So and the problem is they're both called 3080s kind of thing.
Yeah.
Whereas if you have a completely different SKU for it, you do avoid that, because the lower TDP CPU has a different model number. So I suppose there's pros and cons to this, and I suppose it makes more sense in the OEM space. It's just on the desktop space where we're looking to just build computers, having that many SKUs is a confusing mess. So, yeah. On a similar note, Noel also said, don't know if you guys watch Windows Weekly, but all this week, Ryan Strout from Intel was very damning about Apple M1 compared to Intel chips. I would take that with a pinch of salt. I was going to say, that sounds like propaganda to me, because Intel are on a massive anti-Apple silicon binge right now. And yeah, there are pros and cons to that. I mean, it's obvious that Intel are trying to be anti-Apple silicon because Apple silicon poses a big threat to the Intel space at the moment. So yeah, it's definitely propaganda. There are truths and there are myths to this propaganda. like there are some bits where Intel are hitting on it. Like for example, they've been making loads of adverts. They got in Jason Long, the guy from the Hi, I'm a PC and Hi, I'm a Mac adverts.
Yeah.
They got him on as a PC, which is delicious irony. I love it. And apparently those adverts are fine. He has a load of Windows. He goes, look, these are Windows Intel computers, and I can plug lots of peripherals into them. These are Mac computers, and I can't plug lots of peripherals into them. With these ones, I have more choice. There is more of a selection. And apparently they pose very sensible arguments, and they're good adverts, kind of thing.
That will be interesting and surprising.
Yeah. So I'm calling it propaganda, but that doesn't necessarily mean that I think it has malicious intent. Obviously, just make sure to read between the lines is all I'd say there. Remember that Intel right now are trying to push people away from Apple Silicon and no it, even though Apple Silicon is it's a big threat to the x86 paradigm.
Absolutely.
In short,
I'd maintain that you probably don't want Apple Silicon right now.
Not the first gen stuff.
First generation.
Yeah.
Not because it's Apple Silicon.
Yeah.
But I expect these laptops and so on to get maybe one Apple OS update revision, and that's it.
Never buy a first-gen Apple product, people. Friendly reminder, because apparently all of the M1 Macs are having SSD issues. I've not read into it, but apparently the SSDs on them are getting ragged. So there's the classic first-gen issues. And when the headlines broke and people were just like, "Oh, Graham, have you heard about the Apple?" And I'm like, a first-generation Apple product with systemic design problems? Say it isn't so. Say it isn't so. It's just like, who is surprised? Who is surprised? So
I'm just pleased that it's a thing. I'm just pleased that Apple Silicon.
Yes, don't get me wrong. I'm not anti-Apple Silicon. I'm not saying that everyone should abandon ship on x86 or Intel Silicon. I'm not anti or pro anyone. I hope Intel release some really good CPUs soon. So yeah, don't get me wrong on any of this. However, at the moment, Intel are very much under threat from Apple Silicon. Apple Silicon, while being very, very infantile on desktop platforms at the moment, it needs work, but it has enormous potential. The numbers they got out of their first attempt were quite staggering. And for all of the shortcomings of the Apple M1 Silicon, remember, it was their first swing of the bat. And for a first swing, bloody good one, to be honest. They'll iron out the kinks and it'll be good. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just pleased that it's so good for a first gen.
Yeah.
And that it shows real potential.
Yeah. I don't think x86 is going anywhere anytime soon. However, it's good to see more stuff going on. Diversity is good. More options, more choice.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to cover some super chats super quick, unless you had a closing thought.
I was only just going to say the fact of I saw something. What's it called? Oh God, the translation thing. Rosetta Stone.
Oh no, yeah, Rosetta is the emulation layer.
Yeah, apparently that's already stopped being supported.
Wait, what?
Apparently that's already stopped being supported.
Rosetta 2 is dead.
Apparently, and it's not receiving any further updates.
What?
Apparently.
If that's true, I retract all my praise for M1 straight up.
I can't remember where I saw that, but yeah, someone was saying about that in development docs.
Yeah. If anyone in the chat can confirm that, has support for Rosetta 2 been pulled? Because firstly, let's have a quick look at Rosetta. When Apple transitioned from PowerPC to Intel back at the end of the G4 G5 era, they went from the G4 G5 processors into Intel Core Duo, and then very soon after that, Core 2 Duos. There was like one very short generation of Core Duo Macs that existed. They existed for a blink of an eye, and then they were gone, and no one speaks of them anymore. And every now and then you see one, and you're just like, "Where's the 2?" You know. Anyway, so when they did that, obviously they had an issue that all of the apps were designed for PowerPC. So in macOS, you had Rosetta, which was a built-in. So it's not something you had to run. It was just built into macOS. It was built-in emulation for PowerPC apps. So when you were on an Intel Mac, it would automatically run PowerPC apps, and it was seamless. So in the same way that your 64-bit operating system can seamlessly run 32-bit apps, it has to do that through emulation, but it's seamless. You never see it happening. It was the same with Rosetta. And Rosetta, it hung around for a couple of years, but the main thing is by the time they pulled support for it, the transition was over, really. There was no issue with running, as soon as Apple went over to Intel, everyone dropped PowerPC like a stone, and everything went over very quickly. So it seems like they're pulling the same stunt here, but they've apparently pulled support for Rosetta 2, which is doing Intel on Apple Silicon. Less than a year, is that? The M1 can't have been out for a year. So that would make it less than a year. And it's just like, there's no way that everyone has transitioned Intel apps over to Apple Silicon yet. So, yeah, I don't know.
Especially considering you can still buy Intel Macs.
Yeah, I don't know.
You can still buy Intel Macs, and Mac Pros are still Intel.
Yeah, we need I'm going to quickly Google this.
But yeah, apparently it's a case that someone was saying that, yeah, Apple Insider has supported that macOS 11.3 will remove Rosetta Zone 2 from several regions, but I don't know which regions it is.
What's a region? Yeah, like geographic region. Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Oh, okay.
Is that like the entirety of EMA?
Yeah. Yeah, and also that does sound like, Vas Daniel said, sounds like a licensing issue. I can kind of see where they're coming from there. Don't understand how it could be a licensing issue, but as soon as you start talking about regions and stuff, that does sound like something's going on there. I wonder if they have fallen foul. I wonder if there's an issue with the fact that they have to emulate x86. Do they have an x86 license? Maybe it's something to do with that. I mean, really?
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Yeah, imagine that. If you're emulating x86.
That'd be interesting if it's a case of it's not the x86 part, it's actually the x64 part, and it's an AMD license problem.
Well, yeah, either that or it's an Intel thing. And previously they were using Intel CPUs, so they didn't need to worry. And now Intel has been like, why are we licensing our technology to the people who are currently undermining our business model? Yeah, maybe. This is tinfoil hat theory zone right now. I have no evidence to support this. This is total conspiracy theory zone. However, imagine that. Imagine that.
Someone's just posted the article, and I'm just going to quickly speak.
Okay, while you do that, I'm just going to quickly roll back to some super chats that I missed. Dana Repoulet, I probably butchered your name. I'm very sorry, but thank you very much for the $14. Here is your 1% share of my COVID stimulus check from the IRS. Buy a light bulb or two for the shop. Dana Repool. Okay, thank you very much for spelling your name out in a manner that a monkey like me can understand. Dana Repool from Nebraska. Thank you very much for the $14. Yes, I will endeavor via complex manners that will go toward buying another couple of LEDs for my LED panels. So thank you very much. Greatly appreciated. And Night Fusion back again with another $5. Intel did strike a deal to go 3 nanometer with TSMC, according to a source that will remain unnamed, but probably won't be coming to consumer chips. That's interesting.
We spoke about this a couple of shows ago about it being for Xeon stuff. About them not doing it on the Xeon. I think it was specifically on Xeon Scalable.
Fair enough. Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, Xeon Scalable is a weird area, isn't it? So it doesn't surprise me if they're putting wacky stuff in that.
Yeah.
Because
on
scalable stuff like that, presumably, if you're going down to 3 nanometers, they're looking to go low power. I bet, aren't they?
Don't know.
Which
Maybe.
might be what you. And in Xeon Scalable, you're talking data centers, and
Yeah,
for data centers, you want to save power.
Possibly looking to go ultra wide on it and stick like 64 cores in it.
Or,
Or, like
that as well. Yeah.
64 plus cores in it or something. So it'd be interesting.
Yeah. Windows is dying. I don't think so yet, but no, I don't think so in a hurry. Microsoft are in a very, very, very good place at the moment, I think. x86, quite a long time, like a couple of months ago, we were talking about the concept of x86 dying and being replaced with ARM. And we had a big old discussion about that. I think there's still mileage in that as a very long-term theory. But it's not, I wouldn't expect to be running an ARM chip in your gaming computer anytime soon. Like,
no.
Not within the next decade, So,
yeah.
Not within the next decade? Yeah, not within the next decade.
I don't think it will happen. Mostly because I don't think Microsoft will have the same sort of intra-compatibility like Rosetta. They won't have something like that. I think that will be part of the reason why it takes such a long time, is because there won't be that. So there'll obviously be 40 years of software that suddenly stops working.
Yeah, that's true. There'll always be someone who needs that platform, I guess.
Yeah, and that will be completely unacceptable for most companies.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, bearing in mind, there's lots of companies where their upgrade cycle is a decade or more. So, even if I'm saying that that consumers won't be running, what the x86 won't die in the consumer space within the next decade. If it won't die in the next decade in consumer space, it'll be 2 decades before it might die in the business space. So, nothing that we need to be concerned about today, basically. I'm going to be noisy for a sec with my hot air. How noisy is this?
Yeah, basically.
Is that turbo noisy? No, I think it's okay. Good.
It's okay.
Sorry, everyone, but I want to try and get this laptop done today. So,
I don't even think is worth working on.
No, I'll give you guys the laptop. Hang on a sec. I'll give you guys the laptop cam again, so you can see me trying to flash the BIOS on this stupid laptop that's probably dead. So yeah, just like when PowerPC was outgunned by Intel, PPL was still buying Apple. Yeah, well, it'll take a while, but yeah, I don't know. You hate Windows 10, so you're still using 7. Yeah, 10 ain't going anywhere in a hurry. Unfortunately, software as a service, it's not going anywhere. It's here to stay. You kind of got to come to terms with it, unfortunately. So, Ricky B with $20. I've been watching your videos for about a year, but rarely have I been able to catch a live stream since you're on the west coast of the US. Sorry, west coast people. We did try doing later times, but it just didn't really work as well as this time. In short,
not enough West Coasters turned up, so
yeah, basically that.
It's all your fault.
Yeah. So yeah, did Nvidia's attempt to buy ARM fall through?
Not yet.
Yeah, it's not dead yet, but I'll be amazed if it does actually go through.
Yeah, because there's been significant additional scrutiny in the US and in Europe, and then separately in the UK.
Yeah, I'll be amazed if they get that through.
Yeah. I have nothing specifically against NVIDIA in the sense of an axe to grind and a reason to think they're evil.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's a case of, because of the very unique position ARM is in, with the fact that they are actually genuinely, truly neutral, I can't see how it can be seen as a purchase that can go ahead where ARM's customers are everyone that's competing with NVIDIA.
Yeah. It would be incredibly disruptive to a neutral. I think, yeah, the fact ARM being neutral, I think that really is the point here, isn't it? Is that it would disrupt that neutrality, and it's a case of that doesn't seem to benefit anyone other than NVIDIA.
Yeah, because we know what will happen is suddenly ARM stops releasing new designs until 6 months after NVIDIA has magically released a new design.
Yeah.
So whilst obviously, no, there's nothing going on, they're just delayed being available for other customers. What?
Yeah, that would be a bit weird.
That's what I'm expecting would happen, and just weird stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see what else is going on. Like your times, they're perfect for me. Good. What are your thoughts on gold and silver now? What, in terms of like trading gold and silver? No idea. Talking to the wrong person there. They seem to be very high. That's all I know. And it's a case of if you bought gold and silver a year ago, you're laughing. That's my understanding of the situation. About whether to invest in it now, no idea at all. No idea.
Probably already too late.
Yeah, it's one of those bandwagons where you needed to be on it a while back. Ironically, I feel like I should credit where it's due. Dave Jones from EEV blog, he was telling people to buy gold a year ago, and dude was bang on the money. He was absolutely bang on the money. So yeah, that was kind of interesting, I thought.
I'll be interested to see what his reasoning for that was.
Yeah.
Why he thought it was going to go up. What was the reason for that? Because obviously it's a case of, I could say you should go out tomorrow and buy emeralds.
Yeah. I think it's because
I said it when it goes wrong.
Gold
still look omnipresent.
Yeah, I think it's because gold is ultra stable, and it was obvious that the world was about to plunge into a very unstable period. And so I think his theory was that all the investors were going to go into gold because it was stable. So they were just like, well, if in doubt, go for gold because, yeah, that's gold is a very finite, fungible item. It's ultra stable. Yeah, basically. I think that was his theory. And that seems to have been the case, is that people were like, well, we don't know what currencies are going to do, so go for gold because you can buy any currency with gold.
Because you're gold.
Always believe in your soul. I want to read chat, but I'm just quickly soldering this heckin' BIOS chip. And also, the people who are saying that's a really weird looking BIOS chip, I know. I've never seen one of these before either. It's a HP EliteBook, for those of you who don't know. Oh, yeah, that'll do. I'm not in focus or anything. I'm just doing this while we're chatting.
He says with it on the squint.
Oh, all the pins line up. I'm not exactly putting this into the customer's laptop. This is just going in the programmer, so... you'd hand solder that? I should have, you're right. In retrospect, I wish I had. I'm going to touch it up with a soldering iron now. But yes, because it was just a multi-pin device, I was just like, whatever, I'll just hot air that. But yes. Right. What else? More money in printer ink than gold and silver. Oh, no.
But yeah, did you not... there was legitimately I can't remember what it was. There was like a court case or something about taking several printer manufacturers to task because of about their practices of locking out printers if you use the wrong cartridges, or like you not being able to print in a specific color if you don't have a different color and stuff like that.
About bloody time. I straight up tell my customers printers are a scam. Now, I literally don't sell printers. I don't recommend printers. When people ask me, when people say, "Oh, do you sell printers?" I'm like, "Nope." "Do you sell cartridges?" "Nope." They're like, "Do you recommend any?" "Nope." They're like, oh, come on, help me out here. What would you, if you needed a printer, what would you buy? And I say, I wouldn't. You know, the only printers I do go in for are, I do like laser printers, because laser printers for the most part don't seem to have the same bovine excrement surrounding them that inkjets do. So yeah, touch wood, they seem to be okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's a thing.
Yeah, it's like the I say recently, end of last year, I got new Xerox phaser, I don't know, something like 3250s. They're all in one multifunction devices for like 150 quid each. I'm like, it's not terrible.
150 quid, that's not bad considering current, for current prices.
Yeah, black and white only. But yeah, it will do. It'll do like 30 odd sheets a minute, and it will do like 5,000 sheets of cartridge. And yeah, and it's got a built-in scanner and fax, because everyone needs fax machines.
Yeah.
And yeah,
I mean, I think they put in fax just because it's so easy. I mean, I know this is a really old board, so it's not a great example. But where's the chassis? But for everyone who's asking, and also because I see Arnold G is offering me a BIOS for this, and I would actually very much like to take him up on his offer. It's an EliteBook 8470p. EliteBook 8470p is what I'm working on, and the board number. We've got a board number. Board number. Under the thing. Aha. The board number. Oh, I don't know if that means anything to you. We've got a MAC address for it. F23CMC, maybe? Don't know if that's the board number. We've also got a possible part number here. Motherboard SPS 686040, maybe. Under sticker paint. Hang on a sec. Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. This dude knows his boards. All right, that's a HSTNN I07C. HSTNN I07C. And yes, I would very much like to have a BIOS for it. I don't think this is a BIOS issue, although basically the board doesn't post. So yeah, that's why I'm flashing the BIOS on it. It doesn't post. It ain't the CPU. It ain't the RAM. So I'm flashing the BIOS on it as a Hail Mary of this might make this laptop work. However, I don't think it's going to work, which is why this isn't Let's Fix Computers. Although if this actually works, I should try and edit the VOD of this podcast into a Let's Fix Computers and just have Caradog is just there. He's just like, I exist here. So yeah, I'm going to go back up to here while I dick around with this.
You'll have to make sure that the right-hand side of the screen is just...
Yeah. Right, let's dump that ROM. Save. There we go. I have dumped the ROM. However, there was something... What's the buffer look like for that? There's some data there. I don't know. I'm still a noob with BIOS flashing. I've got a video in the works about it, but yeah. Let's see. Right. Catching up on chat. The gold standard economy came from the UK. Ooh, that's just scrolled off. Gold standard economy came from the UK, and indeed people are going for gold, and some countries are looking for banning cryptocurrency because cryptos are in directly danger for any government. Yeah, possibly.
Crypto's also horrifically bad for the environment in general.
Yes, at present, yes.
Given that Bitcoin
are we going to talk about NFTs?
Power,
are we talking about NFTs and crypto? Is that what we're doing now?
No, we're complaining about Bitcoin.
Okay.
That's what I'm doing. The fact that Bitcoin uses more power than an entire country.
Okay, yeah.
And the majority of our power is generated by coal-fired power stations. Word order is hard.
Yeah. I saw a person on Twitter said otherwise, but who knows? But yeah, I don't know. Although word on the wire is that like Ethereum and stuff like that, they're trying to move over to proof of stake and stuff like that. I'll believe it when I see it.
Year.
Yeah,
they're actually doing it.
Oh, they are actually doing it.
They are doing it, and it's ready to go next year.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that'll be good. Switching over to proof of stake will fix a lot of the problems with crypto right now, specifically the environmental issues of it. So that will be good.
Yeah, it will also mean that GPUs are no longer useful for mining it.
Yeah, because that's the problem at the moment. Is I don't have an issue with crypto as a concept. I have an issue with the fact of the way it is mined, and like I hate to just simply talk about what I saw on WAN Show. However, I was listening to WAN Show earlier on today, and Linus was talking about crypto and stuff. And again, I kind of agree with him. He was like, I don't have a problem with crypto or anything like that. I just really dislike large-scale mining, and I don't think that's what the original creators of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies envisioned when they created their cryptocurrencies. I don't think that's not what they intended to happen. I agree with that statement. I think crypto at face value, I'm not into it. I don't have any crypto. At some point, I should probably get some wallets and stuff, but when I feel like it, I don't have an issue with it, but the large-scale mining is the problem. And any updates that transition it to proof of stake rather than proof of work will greatly diminish the issues of large-scale mining. So yeah. Let's see. Really think that capitalism cares about ecology? Yeah, absolutely. Let's see. Bitcoin is worth a crap ton of rupees. Yeah, absolutely. NFTs are bafflingly pointless. Yeah, without wanting to get into a rant on them, NFTs, I really hope they sod off and die as fast as possible. It's a heckin' pyramid scheme. And the big question I have, the thing that baffles me the most about NFTs is who is buying them? Who is paying for them? Like, I understand how they work. I understand the concept. I understand some of the potential advantages. But I don't understand who is actually paying for them. You know, who is actually saying, yes, I want to buy this URL? Whatever.
I don't get it.
Yeah, no, I don't get it either. Like, I understand what you could do with an NFT, but what you could do with it is not what people are doing with it, you know. And that's an interesting thing as well. Philip Defranco has been under fire recently for not condemning NFTs per se. But the thing is, he also said that he sees...
horrifying.
Yeah.
Being condemned for not condemning something, but also not endorsing it.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that a lot of people are saying sort of, oh, he's a shill for NFTs, just simply because he was coming up with an idea for a good use of NFTs. And I actually entirely agree with his idea. His idea, for those of you who don't watch the Philip DeFranco show, is I'm seeing Arnold G is giving me tech support in chat. And I'm like, I will pay attention to you in a moment because you're helping me out, and I appreciate that. Anyway, Philip DeFranco's idea for NFTs was, let's say you're a fan of a band, and what you would do is you could buy an NFT that is like a gold pass, and when you go to a concert, that NFT entitles you to a free T-shirt or backstage access, and you say, yeah, here's my token that gives me access to things. And the way that differs from anything else is that at any given time, you could sell your NFT to someone else, and you sell those perks that are attached to it to someone else, and then that person has it instead. So it's essentially a transferable ticket or a transferable membership card, so to speak.
But why would any company want that?
Well, that's the thing is, because most of the time companies don't do that because they don't want things to be transferable, because then it requires someone to buy it again. So that's kind of where the idea fails. But it sounded interesting as a digital proof of membership. And as I say, I don't know.
See what problem it solves that a piece of paper hasn't solved 1,000 years ago.
Harder to counterfeit, basically, I think is the theory. Although I don't know if counterfeiting is actually an issue with premium memberships per se. I doubt it is much of an issue, but it's an interesting concept, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah. And yeah, Defranco's still going strong. I watch Philip Defranco. I quite like his show, to be honest. As with everyone, I take him with a pinch of salt. You know, never believe everything that everyone says. Everyone's got a motive, and Philip Defranco is no different. However, he's very good at summarizing. He's very good at summarizing the news. So yeah.
Genuinely never watched any content.
Yeah, everyone watches a couple of YouTubers that no one else watches stuff.
Yeah, genuinely just never even. I don't know. I find my YouTube very bizarre. There's like vast quantities of content that's all about, you know, oh yes, what was the suddenly a mouse pointer appeared on my face.
Oh yes, sorry, I'm checking.
I was distracted by the fact that there was a mouse pointer over my face.
Yes, I'm checking Discord at the moment, so
also just the fact that the hand was mirrored.
Yes, you are mirrored at the moment.
Which is fine.
Don't you I knew that was coming. Don't you start playing those games. So yeah. Let me see. Need an adapter. I've already got an adapter.
Wait. Oh no. Am I the wrong way around anyway on the stream?
You are currently mirrored, so if you hold up text, it will be backwards. What is your native facing direction? Is the camera on your left or your right?
On my right.
It's on your right. Okay, in that case, you need to be mirrored on my screen so you're facing toward the center of the stream. And I have mirrored you to make sure that you are facing toward the center of the stream. However, you do not need to be mirrored in any other sense. This is not a problem that needs to be fixed. Okay, anyway. Lead Farmer, you're a legend. Thank you very much. Coming in with the heckin' BIOS. There we go. I am downloading that. Thank you very much. Right, I will quickly open this and then I'll get back to reading the chat. This was a bit of an experiment as well.
I will download this file. I've randomly been linked by a stranger on the internet.
Of course,
yeah. I was told not to do by my parents.
Yeah, this is the point where Lead Farmer has secretly rigged this BIOS and he's going to brick a customer laptop. But that's why you dump the BIOS first. You always dump the chip before you reprogram it. Anyway.
Absolutely.
Right, let's catch up in chat for a bit again. Let's see. Like baseball cards, NFT with a card. Yeah, NFTs are a lot like baseball cards, essentially. So they have as much, you know, their value is what you place on them. However, the difficulty is a lot of people seem to be buying cards that will not appreciate in value at all. I don't know. They're dumb. They're dumb. They're dumb. Ransomware.bios.exe. Yeah. Oh no. It's got Raid Shadow Legends on it. Terrible.
Oh damn it! Actually, it's a PIA advert.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I was thinking the other day. Where were we chat? Oh yeah, it was in the exclusive chat where I was once again I was contemplating that people were talking about sponsorships and stuff like that, and I was contemplating what sponsorships would I actually do. You know, what ones would I actually want to receive where I'd actually be like, yes, that's a sponsorship that I'm willing to do. And I'm not sure. But, yeah. And I think I said...
I like how your original comment was a case of you'd absolutely love for a sponsorship from something like Squarespace, and you'd say, no, don't pay me, just rebuild my website.
Oh yeah, that was a funny one actually. That was from a different. That was a previous conversation where I said, yeah, I do a sponsorship with somewhere like Squarespace, because the context behind that is that whenever you get a website that says our sponsor is Squarespace, we build our website in Squarespace. No, really, we do. And I'm just like, no, what happened is Squarespace came up to you guys and said, we'll remake your website in Squarespace so you can say you use Squarespace. That's what really happened. Let's be honest here. Let's be real. That's what actually happened. And iFixit sponsorship. iFixit sponsorship. That'd be rad. I'd forgotten about them actually. Yeah, iFixit would be a perfect sponsor for me. I'd absolutely do that.
Just all of the wearer tools.
Yeah.
Snap on. Do you need a 10mm socket wrench to fix your computer?
Everyone has lost their 10mm wrench. Everyone has lost it. No one knows where their 10mm is.
Do you need a torque wrench for fixing your computer? No, you don't. But still, snap on. Or the 80s version, snap on, snap off.
I'm very distracted at the moment, and I apologize because I'm trying to. I've unpackaged this BIOS and I've lost where I've extracted it to.
Maybe if you tidied up your downloads folder.
I'm gonna dump it on the desktop because that's a little bit more tidy. There we go. Not OneDrive. I don't want to put it on OneDrive. No one wants to put it on OneDrive except Caradog, because Caradog likes OneDrive.
Yeah. What's wrong with OneDrive?
It's all right. There we go. There we go. BIOS has been loaded. Okay, right. Right,
we would never accept sponsors from a soft drinks manufacturer.
Okay, right. There it is. Right, my BIOS is programming now. There we go. Don't get infected by the Nordvpn virus. Well, yeah, actually, that's why I was kind of starting this conversation. Is like, because I feel like doing like a VPN sponsorship. I feel like that's fairly inoffensive these days. Mainly because everyone is so accustomed to VPN sponsorships that they kind of tune them out. And if I did a NordVPN sponsorship, people would just be like, yeah, double tap the next hour a couple of times and move on. And I'd get whatever £1,000 they'd offer me.
You know, Teltac would lynch you.
Maybe. I don't know. Teltac, are you still in chat? What do you think of NordVPN? What if they sponsored me? So, am I the one who drops everything on the desktop? Yes, I am. I do tidy up my desktop now and then. However, I use the desktop as a dumping ground because that's what it's for. I'm waiting for a reaction from Caradog on that one. Do you object?
Just sigh.
Nordvpn did get hacked, yes.
Yes. Who got hacked and were found to be keeping vast quantities of logs they swore blind they weren't keeping.
Yeah, that is true. That was
stuff like that.
Allegedly that was down to the data center that was not doing what they should have done. But then on the other hand, it's kind of a case
Maybe
of
you should have oversight then.
I was about to say, if you don't know what the data center is doing, then maybe you shouldn't have been using that data center. That is true. That is true. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's this is the thing is this is why this is a difficult question for me, because at some point I'm actually going to get an offer in my email inbox for a sponsorship that I'd be like, ooh, that's actually a compelling offer. Because right now the only offers I get are from grey market key companies, you know, so like CD key websites and stuff like that. And I'm like, no, absolutely not.
What are they offering you?
I don't know, actually. I never asked them because they never give you a number in the email. They always say, we'd like to work with you. And I've never actually responded to any of them to say, what's your offer? Because I just, like, shilling a grey market keys website, no way, man. I'm not doing that. I would rather have some company that makes rugs for gamers. You know, like because Linus Tech Tips have done sponsorship spots where they were literally it was literally a rug company. I don't know where you're taking it, but I'm talking about like a rug you put on the floor. And
how is that for gamers? What part of it is for gamers?
Because then your gaming chair doesn't ruin your carpet. They have anti-slip rubber bases on them, so they don't creep.
What kind of crappy carpet people have? Anyway, moving on.
Well, I've got a crappy carpet that gets ruined by chairs because there are marks where Kimbo's chair is, where Kimbo's chair has marked the carpet because I live in a poor man's flat with industrial carpet that's about 1 millimeter thick. So yes. And I legitimately bought a rug for it as well. I spent £20 on a rug from Amazon. It's
Was
very
it a gaming
comfortable.
one with RGB around the edge?
No.
That's what makes it gaming. It has RGB LEDs in it.
Do the security cameras? Oh God, no! Like Ring and stuff like that. Hell no. Hell no. I wouldn't do smart devices. That'd be a no-no for me as well. I'm not into smart devices, smart home stuff, Internet of Things stuff. Not into it. Yeah, no. Just do a Manscaped sponsorship. Ooh, do you reckon I could I pull a Manscaped sponsorship off? Like, I guess I could be like, I really have issues with my neck beard kind of thing, and just completely like sort of like, this is my sculpted goatee, and just like actually try and sell that.
Oh, okay.
I've never wet shaved in my life. I electric shave. So I don't know how well that would go. Ah, hold on. What the shit? Right, I think. Sorry, that you probably didn't hear that, Caradog, but that was the software for my programmer makes stupid noises, and that was the noise it made when I exited it. Okay, sorry. There were loud noises, and they made me jump.
Honestly, I thought you just shut down the computer instead.
Yeah.
I was just waiting for everything to just pause and just be like, oh, okay.
Yep, no, we're okay, we're okay. Right, let's see.
I still think, just a completely innocuous, utterly unrelated products is the best option.
Yeah,
oh, yes,
that's literally
hair clippers.
Yeah, that's literally what I meant with the gaming rug.
Or Logitech, or just like Logitech in general.
Yes,
I feel like.
Yes. If Logitech want to sponsor me, I'd totally work with them because I like most Logitech products and I use a lot of Logitech products. That'd be good. Yeah, but the problem is, in a way, it's. I mean, it depends because in a way, it suffers a similar issue to a problem that Lewis Rossman described a while back, where people were often saying, "Oh, you should get a sponsor from." Amtech microscopes and stuff like that. And he's like, why would they want to sponsor me? I already use their stuff, and people can see that I use their stuff. So why would they give me money? But on the flip side, I think he's actually wrong about that, because another comparison is Mighty Car Mods. Yeah, sorry, I'm hot airing. Mighty Car Mods, a lot of their sponsors are people whose products they use. And those companies saw them using their products on the show and said, hey, can we get a sponsor with you? And after that, they said, hey, this company whose products we already use are now giving us money to continue using their products, which, by the way, are very good, which is why we use them in the first place.
Yeah.
I'm soldering on my nice mat, which is something I said I'd never do.
And yet here we are.
Yeah, I haven't left a mark, though. We're okay. So, yes.
No, but you left a Harry.
Sounded like a porn tune. Oh no, it did, didn't it? It did. Caradog didn't hear it, so he has no idea what you guys all heard.
It sounded like a what?
It sounded like a porn tune.
Oh.
Like some kind of bad porn video where they're like, da 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 da. I don't know how it goes.
Oh, I see.
But yeah.
Fine. Or just like this. I think my favorite thing is that Cisco IP phones, by default, their hold music is genuinely 80s porn electric synth. So all of these big multinational companies which just use Cisco phones,
Yeah.
yeah, their hold music is 80s porn synth, and it's just like, oh.
Pine64 should sponsor you. You know, the funny thing is,
They haven't got any money.
I don't know. Firstly, I want to do a shout out to. I need to check his name again because I've forgotten. The chap from Pine64. Hang on a sec. I need to do him justice and actually get his name. Pinesil. I'm quickly looking through their Discord. Heck, where's him talking? Oh, heck, I forgot. No, it's going. I'm running out of time. Damn it. The chap from Pine64, he actually joined the Discord after I posted the video and said, thanks for the video. And I was like, whoa, didn't expect this. Thank you very much. And I said, thank you very much. Thanks for the great products. Yeah. And I actually, Lucas Z, that was it. Lucas Z or Lucas Z, however he prefers it. Yeah. He actually popped into the Adamant IT Discord and was just like, thanks for the video. And I'm like, yeah, rad, thanks for the products. They were really great. And he also said, regarding my comment about conical, for the record, here's the Pine Sil. I am actually using it. I'm using it as my daily right now. Although, however, I'm also using it with my my D24 miniware tip on it, because the standard tip that comes with it is the point tip, which I've put away, which I'm not a fan of. And he actually said, "Oh, we're going to ship it with a wedge tip after your comments about point tips." And I'm like, "Oh, rad. Okay, yeah. I mean, like, get more opinions than just mine. Don't do
big influencer flat."
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, yeah, don't change your product purely on what I said. However, I appreciate that you actually, listen to my opinions of it and put some thought into it. And yeah, I wish I'd contacted Pine64 before I did it and like got an affiliate link or something like that. But I would love to do more work with the Pine64 products. The only slight issue is that I'm not sure if they've got anything else that's actually up my alley, because a lot of their other stuff is Arduino style things, Arduino alternatives, and
compute boards.
Compute boards. Yeah, and in addition to that, the other thing they're working on at the moment is they're working on a Linux phone and a Linux laptop. And as I say, these things aren't really up my alley. I mean, if they wanted to send me one,
is very much the deep end.
Yeah, that's right. And so it's kind of a shame, because like, yeah, I'd really love to do more stuff with them. I'm just not sure what I can do for them. Also, I'm making a total hash up of that. Bloody hell. What on earth is going on with this right now? I'm butchering this. Come on. Straighten out. That'll do. We'll touch that up. We'll fix it in post. Oh, actually, looking at the preview, that's dead straight. Oh, wow, I saved that. From the angle that I was looking at, it was about a 45-degree angle. That came out all right in the end. And as a special treat, I managed to put it on the right way around as well. So, yes. Why are we still live? That's a good question. Oh, we're not up to the 2-hour marker yet. We're still good. We have been waffling.
It's only 5:30. It's fine. You certainly thought it was like 6:30 or something.
Yeah. But yeah, so I would do some more. I would do some more stuff with Pine64, and also like if any other companies were making small, nifty gadgets like USB power supplies and soldering irons, or like what about an open source bench power supply and stuff like that? Like an open source bench power supply, or something cool like that. That would be cool. There we go. That'd be rad. I'd be into that. That kind of stuff would be cool to look at. I don't know, man. The problem is there's lots of things that are out there that are cool, but I don't have the energy to go and seek them out. So I don't know. I'm kind of waffling.
That's why you need an assistant.
Yes, that is true. That is true. Which might be something that happens in the near future. The position will not be open for anyone who's thinking about it. But yeah, for a lot of people who've often said sort of, oh, you've ever thought of getting another technician and stuff? The actual plan is more to get a secretary or a personal assistant, just someone to deal with all of my paperwork for me, in short. So, which way around? It goes that way around. There we go. So, and also, all the people are like, you need flux. It's just like, yeah, it's fine. It's on there. The joins are fine. It's fine. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Short Circuit did a review on the Pine phone. Well, not a review.
Yes, I saw the thumbnail for it. Did you watch it?
Yes. The phone very much needed reflashing out of the box.
Oh no. Oh, that's terrible.
Because they had a dodgy batch with a dodgy build.
Ah, no. Oh, that's super embarrassing for them, and I feel bad for them.
I mean, that's literally what the Pine phone is, though. It's supposed to be that.
Yeah.
That's the kind of product people it's aimed at.
It's supposed to be for someone who wants to flash their phone for fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I suppose that's not the end of the world. Like, to be honest, when I saw that Short Circuit were doing a video and I saw that Anthony was doing the video, I was like, oh yeah, I can see exactly where this is going, you know.
Yes.
And that's the thing, is just, it's kind of a shame that it needed flashing out of the box. That's a bit of but on the other hand, did they actually show the process of flashing it?
No, not particularly.
Oh, that's a shame. They should have. But I guess that's outside the scope for a LTT video.
But it's basically a case of dump ROM on SD card, flash from bootloader.
Yeah, that's not too bad, I guess. Yeah, because like that would have been a good example, is to be like, this phone is not working. We need to flash it. Well, that's fine. That's what it's for. Let's show you how you would do that, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Don't know why I'm plugging all these antennas in. We don't need this to see if it works. So yeah, I guess so. But yeah, I don't know. Companies like that. But yeah, I don't know. I want to look
I like it as a concept, but I know nowhere near enough about Linux to be able to even use one.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because as I say, I was looking at Pine64's website just to see if there were any other products that just caught my eye straight off the bat. And I saw the phone. And I was just like, well, I like cheap mobile phones. You know, that might be cool to get. But the problem is yeah, I don't think I wouldn't want it as my daily. And I wouldn't use it for anything else. So yeah. I wouldn't be able to make content with it.
Yeah, exactly. That was kind of the problem.
Yeah.
It's well outside of my wheelhouse.
Yeah, pretty much.
Just a shame, but it is what it is.
Yeah. But yeah, One of the things I've just remembered as well is I was fully intending to try and keep track of what topics we were discussing today so I could make a topics list for this, and I've forgotten to do it again.
It's fine. Someone who's watching can just post it in the comments.
You know, if anyone who's watching wants to do that, I would be eternally grateful. However, I feel like it's really rude to ask the audience to do my job for me.
Not really. That's the point of the community, isn't it?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
That's what good leaders do.
Delegate, yeah. Delegate to unpaid work, yeah.
Yeah.
Tech Canucks, what's up, my dude? How's it going? You couldn't fix something and talk at the same time. I'm struggling with that, but yeah, we're getting there somewhere. I mean, if this thing actually posts, that would be astonishing.
It's fine. It's only taken 2 hours to take a laptop apart and take the BIOS chip off.
Yes, it has taken me an astonishingly long time to do this, even by my standards. Like, when you're recording videos, if you're recording a repair, that repair will take twice as long. That is a given. However, this has taken about 4 times as long because I'm trying to talk about interesting tech topics while I do this at the same time. So this is an interesting experiment and also a very powerful lesson in this is why we don't do live repairs, everyone. But yeah.
Oh no, I just suddenly realized that's what the topic should have been, or the name of the show should have been. It should have been alliteration.
Alliteration of what?
More of alliteration. two text talk, tantalizing topics, teasing something. I don't know, and just gone on a horrific alliteration.
You know what? I'm just going to say I don't like alliteration because when people do alliteration, they often think they're being clever. Whenever I see people using alliteration, they think they're awfully clever for doing alliteration, and that rubs me the wrong way. That's a really random rant to make. I'm aware of that, but like, yeah, it's just one of those random things that irks me. I think it's mainly just because when I see people using it for when they title things, they use alliteration in the title, and I'm just like, yeah, all right, you're very clever, but you made a really naff title just for the sake of alliteration. We need something else to talk about because this is a really pointless rant I'm making here. I'm not going anywhere with this, and it has no impact at all. And why the hell won't this fan plug in? Someone help me.
So you could say you're adamant about alliteration.
What's going on in the chat at the moment? Adamant abhors alliteration. Oh, God. One exception to the rule is the opening verse from V for Vendetta, where V does the alleyway scene, which I think...
Voila, in view. A humble vaudevillian veteran, cast vicariously as both victim and villain by the vicissitudes of fate. This visage, no mere veneer of vanity, but a vestige of vox populi, now vacant, vanished. Anyway.
Yeah. There you go. I was wondering if you still knew that by heart. Where were we? 2 minutes of Graham rants nonsensically. Yeah. Oh no. Right. I've got to plug in this sodding keyboard. It probably doesn't even need the keyboard to post.
Nonsensically.
I'm sorry, everyone. Thanks for coming. Okay, right. Hey, Graham, do you know Electroboom? I watch Electroboom. I really like Electroboom. He's a good channel. That's that's one of those YouTube channels where you kind of need to watch it to get it, I think, because I've known about Electroboom for a very long time, and I thought it was kind of stupid. I thought it was all stupid. I thought it was just, our silly YouTuber deliberately rigs things to explode and deliberately hurts himself for comedic shock, for shock comedy kind of thing. But then when I actually started watching his content, it became apparent to me that it's a case of, yes, it's all rigged. Of course it is, because the guy knows what he's doing. He's actually really good at what he does. He knows an awful lot, and he rigs these things, and he rigs all the deliberate explosions to show you the kinds of mistakes that you can make and what happens when you make those mistakes. Everyone says, don't leave your multimeter in current on the amps. Don't leave your multimeter probes plugs into the amp ports. But no one ever tells you, because you'll blow up your meter kind of thing. But the thing is, he will actually do that on purpose, and the multimeter will go bang on camera so you can see what happens when you leave your multimeter plugged into the amps ports. And it's good. I love it. So yeah.
Yeah.
I actually really appreciate his content.
Yes, I need to actually watch it.
I mean, not all of his videos are good. There are some of them where I'm just like, not really much happens in this video. But yeah, there's a lot of them that are actually rather good, and I quite like his content. Yeah, I would say I'm an Electroboom fan, and definitely a case of don't judge it until you've watched it, because a lot of people have only ever seen the GIFs and just think it's just some stupid idiot that just keeps shocking himself, and it's a miracle he's not dead kind of thing. It's not a miracle he's not dead. He's not dead because he knows what he's doing, basically. Otherwise, he would be very dead. Also, flashbacks to the Jacob's Ladder scene. People who know Electroboom know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you don't, Jacob's Ladder, where you've got the two lengths of wire in a V shape with the arc going boing, boing, boing. He's got one of those balanced precariously on the desk. It falls. and he goes. It's a legendary scene, which actually wasn't rigged. But for that reason, he often reminds everyone of it, because that was really heckin' dangerous.
It's like the fact that it's like Big Clive, bloody well, actually electric.
Oh, that was terrifying, that
shocking
video.
himself.
Yeah.
Actually going, I'm gonna grab 2 nails that are live at mains voltage.
Yeah, that was scary, that video. But it was also really good because it shows you what it's all about. You know.
It's like,
The laptop is still dead, everyone. I've wasted this. This is kind of why I did this live during the show, because normally this is the point where I'd be like, awesome, that's 2 hours of my life I'm never going to get back. But you could kind of say that about the show every week. So.
Wow! Wow!
No, sorry, I don't mean that. I don't mean that. I'm
Lord.
I'm in jest
You have
because
these people here. You take up the time and you say it's yours that is wasted.
That was a low-hanging fruit joke that was too good not to say. This laptop is dead. I'm giving up. Screw this laptop. I'm going to reassemble it purely just so I don't give it back to the customer in pieces. Because screw any computer shop that gives someone their laptop back in pieces. I'm sure there's someone out there that does that because they're dicks.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's see. PC Bolt. I need tips on how to reduce the noise of my gaming PC. You have lots of fans on your PC. Well, sometimes that's your problem. To reduce noise, you need to remove the fans, basically. So, yeah. You need to
work out.
Yeah, you go first, Caradog.
I was going to say work out which ones you need.
Yeah.
Kind of thing, and which ones are being most efficient.
Which ones are actually doing something.
Yeah. Because I would maintain that certainly for most people's computers, you only need 1 case fan in. Oh, excuse me. 1 case fan in, 1 case fan out. And then you're basically covered.
I thought you were just going to say just 1 case fan then. I'm just like, that's pushing it a little bit. But
I started hiccuping as I said it, and I was like, this is an unfortunate pause.
Yeah.
But yeah. So
you only need 1 case fan, Caradog 2021. No, that's not what I meant.
No one needs more than 4 gigs of RAM.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. So yeah, figure out which case fans are actually helping, and the trick for that, what I do when I'm actually trying to, I don't do noise and airflow tuning very often, mainly only on my own computers. But what my approach is that I put a couple of fans in the computer in places where it looks like they're going to help. They're going to blow air toward a certain section that would need air. So for example, you need some intake that's blowing vaguely in the direction of the graphics card. If you've got an air cooler on the CPU, you're going to want some intake that's blowing vaguely in the direction of the CPU. This is why the triple fan airflow meta is so powerful right now, because you've just got triple intakes blowing air at all the internal components. So you've got your cold air getting into the case. You're also going to need at least 1 or 2 fans that are extracting hot air. So you're going to want 1 at the back of the case or 1 at the top of the case or both. So you've got something that's extracting hot air out of the case.
Just make sure if you've got 1 at the top, it's not right at the front, so the airflow doesn't do that.
Yes. And again, you kind of want your intake fans to be as far away, your exhaust fans to be as far away from your intake fans as possible. So you have the most through flow in the case. So I would set up something like that, and then I would... and then what I do is I set the fans up so I have control over them, whether in BIOS or in software. And are you mocking my gesticulation?
No, it was the fact there was a piece of dust, and then I saw myself on the preview suddenly go very cross-eyed.
I've had that a couple of times this stream as well, where there's been something in front of me and I've been like, ugh. But yeah. Anyway, I turn off fans individually. So turn off fan 1. See what the temperatures do. turn it back on, then turn off fan 2, see what the temperatures do, and so on. So you can see which fans are doing stuff and which fans aren't. And like try running the fans at high speed and see how much they drop the temperatures, and then drop them down again, things like that. And basically you need to work out which of your fans are actually doing good work. And then you know which fans you don't actually need. And the other thing as well is just optimizing fan curves. So remember that when you're idling, you can switch off most of your case fans, no problem at all. Generally speaking, if you're most of the time your fan control is going to be CPU temperature tied. So essentially, if your CPU is less than 55 degrees, just turn off the case fans, basically. Because if your CPU is at 55 degrees, that means your CPU is idling, or it may as well be. So I
basically have my fan curve kind of look like a straight line.
Yeah. And then after that, you then start ramping up. Yeah.
It's like I'll turn it minimum speed all the way up to like 56 degrees, just so they're very slowly turning. And then as it gets hotter, they then ramp up reasonably aggressively, because I'm trying to keep stuff below about 70.
Yeah, basically. That's right. And then typically all of my fan curves right at the very end of them at like 80 or 90 degrees, depending on what it is, just have a hard 100%. So and that's basically your panic mode. So if something has gone horrifically wrong, the fan's just cut into high speed, which does two things. If the temperature actually gets that high, it might bring the temperatures down. However, more likely something in the cooling system has failed at that temperature, in which case the fan noise tells you that something is wrong. So I have the 100% panic mode there, more as an audio indicator that there's a problem, rather than to actually try and save anything. And controlling GPU fans, that's quite difficult. You can do a custom fan curves with something like MSI Afterburner or overclocking utility of your choice. And I personally don't think there's any mileage in tweaking fan curves on graphics cards, unless your graphics card just happens to have a really bad fan curve. If your fan,
or if it's got, or somehow you've managed to get like a specific fan speed that it sits at a lot of the time that just kind of makes something else resonate.
Yeah, my graphics card has a resonate point. I can't remember where it is. It's what percentage it is off the top of my head, but at a certain percentage, my graphics card fans resonate slightly, which makes it sound really noisy. And so I have actually tweaked my case fans to ramp up just a little bit more. So my case fans are a little bit louder, but it's just enough to keep the graphics card under that resonate frequency. Or sometimes there are other instances where you're actually better off slowing down the intake so the graphics card fans go up actually a little bit further to get past that resonant frequency. So it's things like that, but there's a lot of tweaking and a lot of experimenting involved, to be honest. I don't really know how to explain it just straight off the bat. So yeah, I don't know if there's some useful information in there or not, but yeah.
Try and work out which fans are actually being useful.
Yeah, and also like if it sounds like a jet engine with a diesel engine, yeah, it sounds like you need to figure out which fans it is that's actually being the noisy ones as well. So if it's actually making god awful racket, find out which fans are the ones that are making the god awful racket.
The other thing I would just say is a case as well is make sure that, the fans are actually half decent fans, because if the fans themselves have all got knackered bearings and they're going clatter, 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 clatter.
Yeah, that's not a fight you'll win.
What fettling you do, you're not going to win because the fan's shot.
Yeah.
So yeah, and don't fall into the trap of buying 600 RPM fans, because they just won't move any air.
Yes. Remember, you can slow a fan down, but you can't speed it up, if you see what I mean. So you can buy a high power fan and run it at 50%, but if you buy a 600 RPM fan, that runs at 600 RPM at 100%, that's all it'll ever run at, which can be extremely limiting. So yeah. So I generally don't run fancy fans. I just run NZXT fans in my case, because my home build is just an NZXT meta build, as I would call it. It's just got NZXT everything. So it's just whatever fans NZXT make. But yeah, they seem to do okay, but they're not super optimized or anything.
No, just like this one, I'm just using the Corsair case fans that come with my Obsidian 750D, which is a like 8-year-old case now, something.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're certainly not remotely modern in any way, shape or form. They're just grey Corsair 140s.
Yeah. Any interesting repairs this week? I don't think so, actually. It's been a real dull week. I've mostly been working on software stuff, I think. And I've had some real annoying time wasters this week. I've had a laptop came in where laptop was BitLocker encrypted, and when you turn it on, it required the BitLocker recovery key. So I was like, no problem, we'll get hold of the recovery key. Called up the customer. I was like, okay, I need your Microsoft account login so I can log into your Microsoft account and get your BitLocker recovery key. And they were like, oh, we're going to have to get back to you on that because I don't know the password for it. And I'm like, okay. And like a day later, they call me back and they say, okay, I had to reset the password on my Microsoft account, but I've now got it. Here's my Microsoft credentials. So I sign into their Microsoft account, and the BitLocker recovery key wasn't on their Microsoft account. And I was like, well, that's a problem. And so I
different account?
That's what I thought. I said, did anyone else set up the computer? Did someone else set it up for you? There are multiple people. And they're like, oh, it might have been my husband's account or something like that. And she was like, oh, I'll get back to you. So she goes away. And so I'm like, fine, take the laptop off the counter again. And, a couple of days later, she gets back to me again. It's like, no, I don't think it's anyone else's account. It couldn't have been the kids, could it? And I'm like, no, because they don't have administrator accounts. And she said, oh, it might have been my old work. And that is the best theory that we had, is that it was an ex-business laptop and the recovery key was on whatever the business account was.
Yeah, it would be.
So that was the guess. And so I then said, okay, well, we came to the conclusion that it was not possible to go to the business and get such information. So I said, okay, well, I can flatten the laptop and just reformat it, but we'll lose the data. And she said, oh, okay, and I said, have you got any backup? She goes, oh, I might have. I'll get back to you. Laptop off the counter. And she goes, a couple of days later, she gets back to me again. It's like, oh, we've got an old backup from a while back, so I'll bring that in. Okay. A couple of days later, oh, we don't have that. So what do we do next? I'm just like, well, in that case, I've just got to flatten your laptop, And it's like, okay, we'll do that then. And so finally, I get around and we flatten this laptop, and then I call them up, and again, and she's like, oh, come and get it soon. And then a couple of days later, they come and get it. And it was just a case of, in the end, this entire job was just a wipe and reinstall Windows. But the amount of backing and forthing and telephone calls and I'll get back to you, and I'm just like, So there was that. And that was annoying. What was the other one? Oh, yeah, the other one that's been annoying me as well is, here's a trap for other computer repair shops. Don't know if anyone else has been experiencing this issue, but for those of you who don't know, when you install Windows 10 20H2, so the most recent build update, it enforces Windows Hello login, and you can't use the password if you're on a Microsoft account. And if the user doesn't have a PIN number set up, the computer is completely locked out until you sign into their Microsoft account. So again, I've had so many computers where I've forgotten to check that they have a PIN set up before I upgrade it to 20H2. And you upgrade it, and then you're faced with you need to sign into the Microsoft account, and then you've got to do a two-factor authentication. So then you have to call up the customer and say, I need your Microsoft password. You've got two-factor. I need you to come in with your mobile phone so you can two-factor for me. And just, oh. So yeah, trap for young players. If you're doing computer repairs at the moment, remember to check what kind of login the customer is using before you update them to 20H2. That's been a super pain in my ass. And like, this isn't new. 20H2 has been out for a while now, but I don't know. It's still something that I'm struggling with.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not even something I'd noticed, just because. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're already signed in, if you're already signing in with a PIN number, then you won't.
Yeah,
it doesn't have any impact on you.
Yeah.
Basically.
I wouldn't have noticed
but
because
yeah,
I've always had a PIN number on there. Yeah.
Yeah, but also that's exactly the reason why it keeps catching me out, because I keep forgetting that it's a thing. Because most of my customers have PIN numbers set up, but every now and then someone doesn't, and you forget, and yeah, you get caught out. There are some ways around it, but it seems a bit hit and miss as to when it works. There is a registry hack to disable it, and the first time I used that registry hack, it worked like a charm. It disables the forced PIN login on 20H2. However, it worked for me one time, and then all subsequent computers where I've tried to do it again, it hasn't worked. So I don't know if I'm doing it wrong or what, but either way, it's a bit hit and miss. The one that I had this week, it was actually easier for me to drop it into recovery mode, roll back to the previous build of Windows, set the PIN number, and then upgrade it again. It was faster to do that than it was to actually try and get the customer through it, because the customer didn't have functional two-factor authentication. It was because the number that was attached to their Microsoft account was a landline number. And when we tried to send a message to them, I was like, oh God, it's a landline number. Okay, madam, what's going to happen is I'm going to arrange for, I'm going to hang up on you, and in a minute your phone will ring, and an automated voice will tell you a 6-digit number. I need you to write that number down, then phone me back and tell me what that number is. And they're like, okay, I understand. Cool, okay, I'll speak to you in a moment. Hang up the phone. This is my banana phone.
Ring, ring, ring.
So you hang up, and I waited 15 minutes, no call. So you then call them back, and you're just like, by virtue of the fact that you haven't called me back, I'm assuming you didn't get a call. And they're like, nope. I'm like, so what do we do? I can't two-factor because it apparently is broken, and it's just like, So yeah. It's all a bit screwy. And yes, I'm still reassembling this wretched HP. However, I've already declared it dead. The HP is kill. I don't care. I'm reassembling it just to give it back to the laptop now. So yeah. So yes, WinSlap. What is WinSlap? Or are you talking about debloating there? I still haven't done anything toward that, by the way. It's just I haven't had time for it. But yeah. You can disable the notifications for getting a Microsoft account now, thankfully. If you go into Windows settings and search for notifications and go into the notification settings, there are some checkboxes you can untick to say, don't remind me about logging into a Microsoft account. And then it'll actually leave you alone, which is very handy.
I've never had a notification to sign in with a Microsoft.
Oh, I do. I've seen them all the time. I've seen them all the time.
I use a local account on at least 2 computers.
Oh, that's interesting. I'm surprised you haven't seen it then, because I see it all the time on customer computers and a couple of my computers that I have on local accounts, because they're like work computers and test rigs. I don't want to be on a Microsoft account on them. So yeah, and every now and then you switch them on, and it comes up with we need to finish setting up Windows, and you're like, remind me in a couple of days. But yeah, it's super annoying. And it's like, this is why people hate you, Microsoft. Stop doing this.
I've only ever had that pop up on the machine I'm signed in with a Microsoft account on.
Odd.
Yeah. because I refuse to use the Microsoft Phone app is the only thing I can work out, because I'm like, this doesn't provide me with functionality I require.
Mm.
And it just kind of goes, why don't you use this app? And I'm like, because I don't need it. It does nothing for me. Thanks.
Odd.
I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just bizarre. Sometimes occasionally you get weird like reminders for stuff, and I'm just like, okay, whatevs.
Yeah. Yeah, I can tune it out, but it's when you see these reminders and stuff like that, you kind of understand why people get pissed off with Windows 10. And it's like, it's not enough to make me go back to Windows 7. I don't think that's a valid solution to this. But I do understand why people get annoyed about these things. Because, you know, once upon a time, this wasn't an issue, and Windows was just Windows. Heck, remember back in the days of Windows 2000 when we didn't even have to activate? We didn't even run Windows Update because we didn't give a damn back then, you know. I'm sure someone's going to be like, "Oh, I remember running Windows 98." And it's just like, no, 9X was terrible. We don't miss the days of 9X. 9X was bad.
I went straight from 98 to XP.
Wow, 98 to XP. That's a heck of a jump.
But
well, actually, no. In a way, it wasn't.
I went from 98 to XP, but I didn't start using 98 until 2001.
Huh.
So, like, the year before XP came out.
Yeah. But then, on the other hand, 98 had a lot of staying power because the next up from 98 was Windows 2000, which was obviously only used in the professional space. And your only other option was Windows ME. And we don't talk about Windows ME. So, yeah. You know, I think I've only ever seen ME once, ever, in the wild.
I've never seen it on a machine.
ME's really weird, man.
I've never seen it actually on a machine.
Yeah. ME is really weird. It looks like 2000 with some extra flair on it, but it's 9X. And you're like, ugh. You know, it's weird, man. It's really weird. Not in a good way. It's not in what, yeah. Ugh.
I remember going to the very early builds of Vista.
I was never interested in Vista when it was
back when it was still called
Longhorn. Yeah. Yeah, I was never really interested in Vista as that was coming out. Same with Windows 7. I had a look at the public beta of Windows 7. And when that came out, I was like, this looks super rad, and I'm really excited about it. But I didn't run it on my main. I didn't main it on my main computer. I just had it installed on a test rig. So because I didn't daily it, I just looked at it as a curiosity, and I was like, this looks neat. I'm looking forward to this. Windows 10, I was super into in the beta phase. I was on Windows 10 like I think from the start of the public beta. Maybe except for like one build.
Yeah, basically. I remember this was back in the day where I didn't have a DVD burner, but my friend had a DVD burner who I went to school with. I had broadband, but they didn't. So I would download the Longhorn ISOs onto a hard drive, give them the hard drive, they'd go home, burn the DVDs, update their build, give me the DVD, I would update my build. So,
yeah. Windows 8 drove you to Linux and you never looked back? Yeah, I'm not surprised. Windows 8, that was a duff one. Like, I'm not one for hating on new versions of Windows because everyone always hates the new version of Windows. Since Windows, for as long as I've been doing tech, and you know, I started out on Windows 95. I have used Windows 3.1, but more I didn't. It was just a thing that I'd seen. You know, when I actually got into computers, that was in the Windows 95 days, and since then, everyone has always said, "Oh, I don't like that new version of Windows. They've changed everything. It's all weird, and I don't like it." So I've never been one to hate on new versions. However, Windows 8, That was a miss with me. The UI design choices just objectively made no sense in my opinion. 8.1 did fix a lot of the issues, but by the time Windows 8.1 came out, it was a matter of you may as well just wait for 10 at that point. Because I think 8.1, I don't know what year it came out, but 10 wasn't far behind, I don't think.
I never understood what people's problems with 8 was.
Okay, so firstly, full screen start menu is a terrible idea on a desktop computer. I get why they did it. They were trying to unify the interface across mobile, tablet, and desktop. I get it. But the thing is, on a desktop screen where you have a 15-inch or more screen, you don't need the start menu to be this big on the screen. And the only thing that they could do with all of that space they had created was fill it with junk. Windows 8 came with so many just useless gimmick apps on the start menu, which just turned the start menu into this maze of tiles, which I'm like, I don't need or want any of this, you know. So I didn't like that. And also the fact that obviously there was no start button, you know, and like I know you could just click down in the bottom left of the screen, but this kind of leads into the there was no start button.
Needed.
There was no start button. Yeah. Yep, there was no start button on Windows 8.0. That came in with 8.1. You had to just click in an invisible space in the bottom left. And yeah, and this was the thing is Microsoft, and on top of this, the Windows 8 full screen start menu also did not have the power button on it in 8.0. There was no power options there. So people, for the dawn of since the dawn of time, I'm getting to the charms bar. Don't you worry. I'm warming up. I'm warming up now.
It's like, it was all in the charms bar.
So the thing is that for the dawn of time, we had been teaching people everything you want is in the start menu. Click on the start button in the bottom left, and when you want to turn off the computer, you click on start and you click on the power button. And Microsoft said, and I quote, Microsoft engineers said, people don't use the start menu. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, come again? You know, it's like, it doesn't, like, I get it. Lots of people put shortcuts on their desktop. Yeah, absolutely. However, the start menu still needs to be there. That's like saying on your phone, you don't have an apps menu. You know, now I know that iPhone doesn't have that, but then iPhone's solution to that is you plaster icons across everything and you make it a confusing mess. So the start menu still needs to be there. So they took that away and they turned it into a hidden UI element. So that then leads us into the charms bar. So because they had nerfed the start menu and the start menu didn't have the control panel or the power button or anything like that on it anymore, they were like, well, we need somewhere to put the power button and the settings and stuff like that. So their big brain idea was, instead of using the already existing and established start menu, we'll add a new bar that slides in from the right-hand side of the screen called the charms bar, that was an invisible menu that you had to swipe in to get. And no one knew it was there. And if you didn't have a touch screen, it sucked to get it because you had to mouse over it. Do you know, here's the thing, do you know anyone who's got their start bar set to auto hide? I think everyone knows one person. Everyone knows one person, but for the most part, anyone have their start bar set to auto hide? No, because it's really annoying, isn't it? That's what the charms bar is like. So you have to mouse over and then the charms bar appears, and if you move your mouse a little bit to the left, it disappears again. You have to hug the right-hand side of the screen, move down to the bottom, and there would be a settings button, and you click that, and then you'd have your shutdown button.
I would probably have a hidden taskbar if it didn't screw up window alignment, because the windows align to where the taskbar is when it's not hidden, not to where it is when it's not hidden, not to where it is when it's hidden.
Yeah. I can see the appeal of auto hide, but whenever I try turning it on, it feels gross. So that's my bias, I'll give you that. But then finally, of course, there was full screen mode, when you full screened an app and its title bar disappeared. And the only way to get out of the full screen was to swipe down from the top of the screen. They took away the cross, the red cross in the top right. So genuinely, my first experience on a Windows 8 computer was I went into a full screen app and I could not figure out how to get out of it without doing shortcuts like show desktop, like Windows D, which you shouldn't have to do. I could not figure out how to get out of a full screen app. Remember, the title bar was brought back in Windows 8.1. In 8.0, there was no title bar in a full screen app. And it was just like, are you kidding me, Microsoft? What were you thinking? You know, and this is the thing.
I never had any of these issues at all.
Yeah, I'm sure there were some people that didn't, but for me, I thought this was mind-numbingly annoying. And yeah, Metro UI, yes.
My biggest complaint with Windows 8 was how thick the window borders were.
Yes. Yeah, that was the start of flat design, wasn't it? Yeah.
So the only
it was very
change
wasteful on
I
space.
ever made was I did a registry edit to remove the window padding.
Oh, neat.
That was the only change I ever made.
Yeah.
To make it so there were borderless windows, effectively.
Yeah. I mean, I think the thing is...
Like Windows 10 is now.
Yeah. Like, all of these problems that I'm describing are... They're kind of first world problems. And like you said, you never experienced these issues. Like, as soon as I knew how to do this, like, as soon as I knew that you had to drag down from the top, and as soon as I knew about the charms bar and stuff like that, the problem kind of vanished. It went away. And in the same way that... Like, remember the... was it the Palm Pre? Or the Palm Pebble?
Yeah, both.
Yep. They came out. They were the first phones that used a gesture for opening menus. They didn't have a home. It didn't have any mechanical buttons on it. You just had the gesture. And the first time I picked up one of those phones, my uncle had gotten one, and he said, "Hey, I've got the new Palm phone. Do you want to look at it?" And I'm just like, "Oh yeah, sure, check it out." And I'm like,
"Yeah,
I don't know how to unlock this." And he's just like, "Oh, here, you've got to swipe up from the bottom." I'm like, "How do you know that? How are you supposed to know that?" And it's like, once you know, you know.
That was an animation.
I didn't see that at the time. Okay, fine. Maybe I was blind. But the thing is, the reason why I say this and the reason why I'm rubbing it on really thick is if me, someone who does IT for a living, is having difficulty figuring this out, how on earth did you expect the general public to figure it out? That is the point that I'm winding up to here. Now, I'm sure there's some people that would be like sort of, "Oh, you're really dense," and "Oh, you shouldn't have," and stuff like that. And this was really obvious, etc., etc. Yeah, maybe it was, but like, if I was struggling with it, how do you expect the general public to have figured it out? And I think that's, I don't know, that is the crux of what I'm getting to here, and that's why I don't like Windows 8. General public is trainable. It takes time, though, man. Yeah. Sorry, carry on, Caradog.
I just liked Windows 8 because it was so much faster. It was just so much faster than 7 was. 7 was so much faster than Vista. Vista was so much faster than XP, etc. Each version has always just been so much faster.
Yeah. I on a technical level, 8 was good. I liked Windows 8 on a technical level. I just didn't like... I just hated the Metro interface, man. And yeah, Windows 8.1 is almost exactly the same as 10. So, yeah. I think the other thing that also tainted my opinion of Windows 8 a little bit, and this one was an unfair thing, was just I didn't understand how the licensing worked, because obviously we didn't have product keys anymore. And I couldn't wrap my head around how you reinstall Windows 8. But that was a me problem. And once I'd figured that out, it was not an issue anymore. But yeah. Anyway, that's my big Windows 8 rant. I've got that out my system now. I'm done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And some of it was some of it was a bit unfounded, and some of it was me being dim-witted. But I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah. It was just, I think from my point of view, the shame that came out of Windows 8 and the issue with that was an awful lot of it was bought from the antitrust cases in America in the late 90s. I think that's what a lot of the issue was, because they couldn't go all in the way that they were trying to as an entire ecosystem, because Microsoft as an entity was scared about being sued for antitrust again.
Yeah.
And I think that screwed up an awful lot of the stuff for Windows 8.
Possibly. I think a lot of it also comes down to just simply the fact that it was just a failed experiment, because, as I say, like the Metro UI, it was all about a unified interface across mobile, tablet, and laptop, which was very forward-thinking at the time. And it was the idea of unifying the interface across all devices was a good idea. It just didn't. I just think they did a poor job of doing it on the desktop. I feel like they went too far unifying it on the desktop, further than they needed to. And by comparison, Apple unified the iPhone and the iPad, but they never turned macOS into an iOS lookalike, which I think is very important. They didn't do that, whereas Microsoft did. Or they looked at Microsoft try doing that and fail, and said, okay, well, we've seen what happens when you try that. Let's not do that.
Yeah, I think that was more the point. It was, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, that's that. And yeah, that's my big rant. Yeah, I think it's just sort of, I think Windows 8 it's an interesting specimen. It's a word to the wise on having some interesting ideas and being technically very good. But I don't know. I think they just made some unforgivable mistakes, which is why everyone dislikes it. And 8.1, which fixed most of the grievances with Windows 8, was too little too late. I certainly had gone back to Windows. I never did upgrade to Windows 8. I just used it on other computers. But I stayed rigidly on Windows 7 until 10 came out. And then I jumped on the 10 bandwagon.
You moved on to 10 really quite quickly.
Yeah, because I tried the beta and I liked it, and immediately I was like, yes, this is the future. Unfortunately, they never quite finished Windows 10, which stems into some of my more modern complaints about Windows 10, with regards to the amount of legacy control panels that still exist, that make a lot of settings in Windows 8 in Windows 10 just too much of a maze to navigate, and they're very slowly fixing it. An
awful lot of it was fixed in 20H1.
Yes.
Sorry, in 20H2.
Yes.
And from what I've seen, an awful lot of it is being fixed in 21H1 as well.
They are still very slowly weeding out those legacy control panels that annoy me, because the thing is obviously Windows 10 aggressively killed off the control panel to replace it with settings. And I'm like, that's fine. But the problem is they never finished settings. So they aggressively killed off control panel and left us with a half-finished settings. That was one of my major grievances. And settings is nearly there now. There's a lot of stuff that you can now, like you say, with the recent builds, especially with the audio interfaces now, the audio section of settings, which obviously I frequent a lot as a streamer. The sound settings now, there is almost, and as far as I know, nearly everything that you'd want from the legacy control panels is now in the sound settings section.
The only thing that isn't there, as far as I can find, that you could to re-add in is listening back to a device and a couple of bits like that, and changing the record quality.
Yeah.
And those effects.
Yeah. Some of those are still there. And I suppose to a certain extent, one could argue that a couple of those things are so niche that they don't need to be in settings. But on the other hand, again, the point is that Microsoft are trying to kill off the legacy control panel. Therefore, they've got to move all of it. But while I do applaud them for finally finishing it, my beef is that it took them.
My sound.
My beef is that it took them 6 years to do it. You know, it took them 6 years to actually finish it, and it's like, can you still hear me? I'm possibly thinking that's a no. Could you?
There we go. Now
Okay.
I can hear you.
Yeah. Okay. I'd only said one thing. I was just saying while I do applaud Microsoft for fixing those things, my beef with them is that it took them 6 years to do it. You know?
Oh, absolutely. But yeah, at least it's actually kind of happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's basically the case on that. At least it's happening. But
Yeah.
it was also kind of a case of doing it somewhat more properly.
And also the fact that, like, also credit where it's due that, you know, Microsoft's game plan of Windows 10 being software as a service with long-term support and the build updates, that has been very good. Like right now, Windows 10 is clocking on for, I mean, it's probably the longest active version of Windows at this point, that has like the longest flagship version, because like by the time, like take Windows 7 for example, by the time Windows 7 was when did Windows 7 come out? 2009? About 2000,
I think so.
2009. And Vista was was 2009, and Windows 8 was what, 2012, something like that. So
Yeah.
Windows 7 was eclipsed after. Now, obviously, people continue to use Windows 7. However, it was eclipsed as a flagship about 3 or 4 years into its lifespan. And now Windows 10 is what, 6 years into its lifespan as a flagship? So that is my logic for saying it's a long-running flagship. Yet, when you do a clean install of Windows 10, the amount of space, you know, you do a clean install of Windows 10, you have to do minimal patching. Like there's only a couple of security updates to do as long as you've installed the latest build. A couple of security updates, and your total installation size is probably about 17 or 18 gigabytes. By comparison, you know, when you install Windows 7 today, now obviously 7 is an old boy, so this isn't a fair comparison, but you know, Windows 7, you do a clean install of Windows 7, and you've got typically at least, if you fast track everything, you know exactly what security updates to install in what order, you're still looking at half a day of updates to install. At best, half a day of updating, and you'll end up with an install size of about 40 gigabytes, last I checked. You know, it's a mess. It's an absolute mess.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, whereas Windows 10, you know, my point being is Windows 10 is aging incredibly well now. I mean, I really hate to use the fine wine phrase, but it is aging like a fine wine. Where it's
a much better setup.
Yeah, it's only getting better with age. And based on the fact that it's only getting better and it's staying as relatively clean and slick as it is, you know, this time in 4 years, we know it's still going to be slick. This time in 4 years, we'll be on version 24.9 or something, 24.09 or whatever it'll be. And your install size will still be, you know, I don't know, less than 20 gigs.
Yeah. Most likely, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Just interesting that apparently 1903 is no longer a supported version of Windows.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 1803, 1809, 1909, 2004, 20H2.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, they typically only support the most recent 4, I think, don't they?
5, yeah.
5, yeah, something like that. But yeah.
But it's just interesting that 1903 isn't supported.
Yeah, because 1903 was one of the super stable builds, wasn't it? Like, I think 1903 was a darling build. There was nothing wrong with 1903, to my knowledge. I think a lot of the builds, there's been something that's caught someone out. But I think 1903 and 1909, if my memory serves me, were super stable, and just there were zero issues with those builds. Because 2002 or 2001 or whichever it was a tricky one. But yeah. Right. You installed 21H1. Is that the current Fastlane build?
I think
What's
it's
fast track?
on. It might be on slow.
Yeah.
Might be on slow ring. I don't think the official 21H1 is actually rolled yet.
I need to get one of my computers onto insider builds, because I don't have any computer on the insider builds. So when the new builds come out, I kind of see them on release day, which is a bit concerning, because every now and then I've had it where a customer laptop has updated before I've seen the new build, and a customer laptop comes in that's running newer software than what I've seen, which is a bit concerning, because you see something new and you don't know if it's actually legit or not.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got to get my laptop onto the insider builds, because my laptop is expendable. If that guy's a little bit unstable, I can just use another computer.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm not sure exactly where we're up to. But yeah,
21H1 is a bit messy at the moment, apparently. Yeah.
I expect so, because it's
still insider ring. Yeah.
I think it's still insider.
Yeah. That's what beta is for, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yes. Yeah, 20H2 has been out for a while now.
Yeah. Beginning October, I think it was.
Yeah, that's right. It was the October build, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But
I think it was slightly delayed, and came out October.
It's about 50-50 for me for whether customer laptops are up to 20H2 or not. I'm still doing a lot of build updates. Half of them come in and have updated, and the other half are still running 1909 or 2004.
Yeah, I've seen a reasonably large number of computers that were at one point I saw a reasonably large number that was still on 2015-09. So in 1509.
Ooh, yeah. I think I saw a 1605 the other day.
Release build. Basically the release build.
Oh, it would have been, wouldn't it? Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Because it was a laptop that had 16 gigs of storage.
Oh no. Yeah, it was an eMMC. Oh god, yeah. It's not even 32 gig. God, how did you even fit it into 16 gigs? Yeah.
Because the original install was 15.8 gigs.
Yeah. You just squeeze that in.
The original 1509 install was something like 15.8 gigs. And it was like 16 gigs usable space. So 16 gigs total space after formatting. So there was 200 megs left over. That was it. So obviously you couldn't do any updates. And as soon as someone synchronized their email, it was all gone.
Oh no. That's terrible, man. Yeah, I had a laptop in the other week. It was a Compaq CQ61. And for anyone who knows the Compaq CQ61, common as muck laptop. It was dirt cheap in the day. Very, very common. It's a terrible laptop. It was one of these cheap Compaq pieces of crap with a Celeron, single core Celeron garbage thing in it. And that was in, and it was running like 1603 or something like that. And I was just like, okay, let's try. This shouldn't have Windows 10 on it at all. This one should have just been left on Windows 7 until the day it died. But whatever, someone put 10 on it. Let's try and at least update it. And yeah, I could not. I spent a week trying to get that thing to install the latest updates, and it just kept failing. The customer had programs on it that they could not reinstall. So reinstalling Windows wasn't an option. And in the end, I gave up on it. I was just like, I've tidied up the existing install of Windows, but this laptop is end of life. It's like a 2006 laptop. You know, I've tried to service it. I've done what I can with it. I'll do this at half price because I don't think it's a full job, you know. Get this out of my sight.
It was basically a case of this laptop was bad before it was even sold.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Gross. Gross. All right. I think we're just going to catch up on the chat, and then I think we should throw in the towel, because holy shit, we've nearly been going for 3 hours. Sorry, anyone who's watching the VOD. or not sorry if you actually like the long shows, but we're not making a habit of the long shows. I was actually going to make this one a short one because I started the show with a headache. I didn't get my coffee, but my headache has passed, so we've got that going for us. So yeah, first time you followed live and it's 3 hours long. I'm sorry. For anyone who's just like, I want to go and live my life. We'll release you soon. So, anyway, right, couple of quick ones. Have you tried any Linux distros? I'm not much of a Linux man myself. I don't use Linux unless I really have to. But one of the reasons for that is that I have Macs kicking around, and most of whatever I'd want to do in Linux, I can do on a Mac because you still have a bash command line. So I have something that can serve the same purpose. When I do need Linux, I normally just grab whatever the latest version of Ubuntu is and do whatever I need to do on that. But not a big fan of Linux just because I don't like tinkering, and Linux is a tinkerer's operating system. I don't think that's a controversial thing to say. So yeah, not my kind of thing.
Yeah, I swapped to using Ubuntu earlier last week.
What, as a main?
Just from the machine I was using, Ubuntu one.
Okay, yeah.
There was a horridly butchered Ubuntu install that I had that had been on an SSD that I'd copied between about 4 machines. I was just like, yeah, it's
probably about time
to
for a
change
refresh.
Now. It's time to actually do a fresh install and stuff.
Yeah.
And it was also just the fact that I had programs that were running from config files that didn't exist.
Ooh, yeah.
And I was just at the point I was like, how do I have programs running from config files that don't exist, pulling the currently correct config, but I need to change the config, but the file they say they're pulling it from literally doesn't exist.
Yeah, let's hope that the default values are secure and not just a logging in as root with a blank password, you know. So I'm looking at you, MySQL, you know.
It's just like, yeah, never mind. We're reinstalling now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. How are you finding Lubuntu? Because I used Lubuntu on some of my old digital signs, and one of the problems I had with it was that it was a lot more stripped down than Ubuntu was, which I feel is good, but that also magnified the Linux experience of, I want to do this. Oh, I've got to download something. Okay, I'll download that. Oh, I've got to build it. Okay, I'll build it. Oh, I've got to install a library to build it. Okay. And yeah, it was...
It doesn't seem to have 3D acceleration for the UI.
Well, and that does that mean the UI runs really slowly?
Yes.
Okay, yes. This is my problem with Linux.
There is genuinely half screen tearing.
Yeah.
When Windows move.
Yeah.
So straight across the middle of the screen. So it can't do 60 hertz refreshing properly. It has inconsistent refreshing, shuffling windows around. Also, there seems to be a thing where if you drag a window down the screen, it closes it, it quits it, it force quits it.
Oh.
So moving a window from the top of the screen to anywhere lower on the screen, force quits it.
Yeah, no, that's not a good idea. Some people have big screens and they move windows around on those screens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
for the screen tearing thing,
tabbing out of the terminal, one version of the terminal that's pre-installed, force quits it. So it only works whilst it's the primary window focus. As soon as it stops being the primary focused window, it force quits.
It sounds like there are that reeks of the person whoever's in charge of that Linux distro. That's their personal preferences for their computer. And the first thing you learn when you become an IT tech and when you work on other people's computers is you don't set them up how you like yours. You need to find a setup that is very inoffensive and works for lots of people, not what you like. What you like is probably not what is good for other people. I mean, regarding the drivers thing, that is probably because of like it doesn't have drivers by default, and all the drivers are either closed source
Oh,
or have closed source bits, which means they can't include the drivers in the distro. There's probably a
also,
legitimate reason for that. However, it still means that it's a poor user experience because you had to do it yourself.
also the other thing is it cannot display a picture
Mm.
using a 3060 Ti until you use the closed source binaries from NVIDIA.
Yeah, I mean, brand new graphics card.
But I'm just like, it can't display a picture at all.
Oh, no picture
It
at all. It
doesn't
can't
boot.
even. Yeah, you can't
doesn't
even
boot.
have. You can't even
Yeah.
just have 1024 by 768. Yeah.
Yeah, the installer errors all over the place if you've got a 3060 Ti plugged in.
Yeah.
So I had to swap out to my 1050 Ti so I could
Yeah.
get the install to work.
And this
So
is
I
the
then
thing.
installed a driver for a 1050 Ti, took out the 1050 Ti, put in the 3060 Ti, and I was like, oh, there we go, it works.
Yeah. Just a quick thing. Suit you. Caradog's mic has got USB Type-C and XLR on it, and he's plugged in with a USB Type-C cable. So yeah, it's not a mic that's not plugged in. I can see why you thought that, but don't worry. It's not a poser mic. It just has a Type-C cable connected to it.
I can demonstrate that it's very much plugged in by doing this.
Anyway, but yeah. So the thing is, I'm sure there's people in the chat, and I'm sure there's people who are watching who are just like, oh, well, you just have to do this, this, and this to make that work. And I'm just like, I'm sure it's all fixable. And I'm sure there's people out there who love fixing it. However, like, to use Top Gear terminology, this is the MG owner's problem. People who own classic cars and classic MGs, when something breaks,
No problem.
when something breaks, they're just like, oh yeah, that's an excuse to take it to bits again, you know. Whereas some of us, we just want it to work, and that's the thing. Now, if you love tinkering and you love making that all work, and you like that, and you're just like, this is good because it's open source and stuff like that, that's great. I got no beef with that whatsoever. But me, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. I'm sorry. You know,
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just not for me, basically.
Absolutely. I'm just very confused by the fact that it's just like, nah, we're not even going to have a really basic driver that at least doesn't error all over the place.
Yeah. I mean, unless they just haven't updated the distro yet. Maybe they haven't had time to get it out because the 30 series hasn't been around for long or something. I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, but I guess it's just the fact that, like, I can grab Windows 7 and it will at least give me a basic driver that works with a 3060 Ti.
Yeah, something has broken in a very funky way on that, I think.
That's kind of my point. I can at least get the Windows 7 installer to display.
As Jerry says, plenty of modern Linux distros just work. Yeah, I can attest to that because, like, that's why when I do need Linux, I download Ubuntu, because I feel like Ubuntu is the one that will just work. And every time I've used Ubuntu in recent history, because I've needed Linux specifically for something, I've downloaded Ubuntu and it has just worked.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I'm not saying that all of Linux is like that, but I don't know. Yeah, I feel like part of me is tempted to say, if you go with there's probably some Linux purists out there that are like, oh, Ubuntu is really bloated and stuff like that. So it's like, well, if the ones that just work are also really bloated, I may as well just use Windows and just go all in on a bloated system, really. You know, I don't know. The difference is that Linux allows you to set it how you want. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
don't use Arch.
Yeah. Oh no. I had a work experience student who was into Arch, and he was trying. He wanted me to be in on Arch and Manjaro, and I'm just like, no, I can't be asked. Can't be asked.
Manjaro is
Isn't Manjaro a more polished version of Arch, and Arch is the super knightly build version?
I thought Manjaro was built on Ubuntu, or is that Pop? No, Pop OS is built on Ubuntu. Yeah, Manjaro, I think, is a fluffed up version of Arch, basically.
I think so. Someone in the chat is probably about to tell us. I'm pretty certain that Manjaro and Arch are very similar, in the same way that
Manjaro is a legitimately good option.
Yeah, kind of like how Red Hat and Fedora are the same, and one of them is just the more cutting edge version of the other. Are Red Hat and Fedora still a thing?
Fedora. Do you mean fedora?
Fedora. Oh, sorry, Fedora. Federer is the that would be Roger Federer, the tennis player.
Oh, God.
I could pretend that I was making that joke on purpose, but I think Caradog knows better. But yeah.
It's also the fact that it's a red hat. Yes, a fedora.
I knew that. I was just saying Fedora wrong. Anyway, Manjaro is
yes.
Arch with an installer and more newbie friendly for what Arch is.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I gathered the difference is like Manjaro will actually put you on a desktop, whereas Arch puts you at a command line and you have to start your own UI. You know.
Yeah. Basically.
All right, what mic have you got, Caradog?
I genuinely just forgotten what it is.
Okay, there was another.
It's the Samsung Q9U.
Yes, one of those. There was
Which
one
is very
more.
nice. Yes.
Before we started talking about Linux, I saw one more question that I was going to answer, but I've lost it now. When I said I'm just going to cover stuff in the chat, there was one more, and I was like, oh, I'll get that one as well, and I've lost it now. Nope. Oh, I'm nearly there. Hold on a sec. Oh, there's another one I've just spotted. Have you thought about the community soldering live stream? I have thought about it. I haven't put anything into motion. Yeah, I was kind of knocking around the idea of announcing it on April the 1st and actually making that the April the 1st event, because again, my favorite kind of April 1st jokes are the ones where you're actually serious. And what I would do is I'd dress it up like the Great British Bake Off, except it's with soldering, or something like that. I'd be like, it's the Great Solder Off. We're all going to solder a kit together, and you solder along at home, or something. But I'd be like, no, I'm serious. We're doing this. Here's a list of all the parts that you can order, and this time in a month. We'll give you a month to buy all the stuff you need, and then we're going to do it. And the April the 1st video will be the announcement video for it. That was one of the possible ideas I had.
And there'll be lots and lots of affiliate links.
Yes, I will affiliate link everything. But you won't have to use the affiliate links, you know. I'll say what it is, and people can choose to buy through the affiliate links, or they can go elsewhere. People can have the choice. Oh, that's annoyed me. It was a good question. And I saw it and I've lost it. Nope, it's gone. It's gone. It's too bad.
Oh, well.
Yeah, that's it. I think we're done. I think we are done. Oh, someone asked about my streaming setup. That was it. Oh, no, that's kind of a whole thing. Yeah, my streaming setup, I'll do this as a very flying overview. It's pretty straightforward. What I'll do is I'll just quickly turn my camera around and you can see. Come with me and you will see a world of pure imagination. So,
and you'll be in a world of pure imagination.
Oh, whatever.
Good Lord.
I have seen the movie actually, but not in a very long time. Where is the camera? I need to go to 90 degrees. Bam.
Are you now going to cut me off?
No. Or something. I could do that, I guess, yeah. Anyway, so that's the screen. So I've got the chat on the left there. This is OBS, Open Broadcaster. So in OBS, I've got a window capture, and here is the Discord call with Caradog. So OBS is capturing that window capture there. Then on this bit here, that is my Logitech Brio, which is doing that one. Then in the top right of this screen, that is the C920, which Caradog is seeing me from. Then audio, Caradog's audio comes in through Discord and is captured on this bar here, so that's Caradog's volume. This one here, oh yeah, you are very broken, you are frozen. I thought you were looking very still. Oh, I minimized the call, that's why. There we go. If you minimize Discord, it freezes. There we go. You're moving again, there we go. You were just looking very concerned and it looked like you'd frozen. Anyway, so that's Caradog's volume. Then that volume bar, that's my one. That's my Rode microphone that I'm wearing, so that's my volume. And yeah, that volume comes in from my wireless lapel mic that I'm wearing. Hello, Carrot Hog. And yeah, that's it basically. So yeah, OBS, some Discord window captures, and that's the streaming setup. That's how the magic works. I hope that answers the question. At some point, I need to do a OBS crash course, a crash course on how to stream with OBS. I've tried. It is surprisingly difficult to make a OBS crash course to explain to people how you get started with streaming, because there's so much information that you could say. And yeah, there's, you know, every time I try and record one, I start saying, well, and if you have this, then you need to do this. And if you have this, then you need to do this. And the video the intro video becomes an hour long. You know, the intro video on just how to open OBS and start adding in stuff becomes an hour long. I'm like, I need to script this so I can condense it down into 10-minute chunks. So yeah.
Yes, in a way where you kind of go, oh, if you've got this, you need to do this. Or if you've got this, you need to do this.
Yeah, because I want to break it in. I want to break it into categories. I want the first 10-minute one is installing OBS, adding a source like a camera and a microphone, and hitting the go live button, or the record button. So it's just in 10 minutes you are recording or going live with some content, and you know, so for the people who just need that, they can make a quick and dirty setup immediately. Then the next one will be, right, now let's talk audio. Here are good mics and bad mics. Here is how to tweak your mic to get the best out of a bad microphone. Then another 10-minute episode. Here is video cameras. Here's how to get the best out of a NAP webcam in 10 minutes. You know, and any filters you might want to do, and basic dirty lighting setups, just so your webcam doesn't look like trash. You know, and just simple things. So it's just in 10 minutes, a rough thing, how to get going and how to avoid the most common traps I see, the most common mistakes I see streamers making, in that they've got a webcam in the dark. Just for posterity, I'm going to turn off my studio lights because we're wrapping up now anyway. Just the most common mistakes, streamers who don't have any lighting, and streamers that don't have a limiter on their microphone, so their microphone clips whenever they laugh. So I want to make sure that that is covered. Seriously, the amount of people where as soon as they start going, oh, it's just horrible clipping. So yeah, there we go. That's with the studio lights off, and suddenly I'm on a dirty, noisy camera, and it looks trash. Yeah. Now we're in bad streamer zone, and yeah. There we go. Don't be like this. Buy lights, people. You see the difference that lights make. Doo-doo. All right. Hello, Caradog. Right. We've been going for over 3 hours. We're at 3:08. We're going. We're leaving. We're departing. Poor man streamers. Doesn't have to be expensive lights. I've got expensive lights. However, at home, when I'm streaming games on home, by the way, I stream on Twitch. TV/NFTSM. There we go. When for poor man streaming, literally a desk light, point it at your face. That's literally all I have at home. I have a clamp light above my monitors, and when I stream, I point it up at my face. So I've got my desk light shining into my face. Makes a world of difference. Absolute world of difference. So yeah. And you can do very dirty setups that cost $10 kind of thing. Not expensive. Right, that's it. We're going. Thank you very much for tuning in, everyone. A big thank you to all the super chats. How many people are still here? Where's the streaming thing? 247. It's been consistent, actually. I was half expecting to open up the streaming dashboard and see that we were sitting on 100 viewers or something like that. Which, don't get me wrong, 100 viewers is massive. I'm always astonished at the amount of people that turn out to these shows. Big thanks to everyone who comes along, by the way. But yeah, it's been great. We've overrun by a lot. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. We will be back next Saturday as usual. with the lights on. There we go. That's the backlights. There's the hairlights. I'm not going to reach to my key lights again because I have to stand up and go. I've got a remote for the backlights, but not for the key lights. So yeah. Anyway, thank you everyone for tuning in. This is backlit now, and I will see you guys soon. Yeah, that's it. Thank you everyone. Goodbye. Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Farewell.
End stream.
Wiedersehen.
End.
Tschüss.